Hey, Dylan. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. We got okay. You're back. You were frozen for a moment there.
Yeah, I'm just kind of coming in here.
Coming in and out. Okay, cool. Great to have you. We're getting an echo. Are you
Oh, wait, it might be me. Let me think.
okay?
Um,
Why don't
no?
one of you mute so we can see who it is?
Okay.
Okay, so is it happening now? Yeah. Let's
I'll go ahead and
you yeah, now you unmute Kat and let's see.
Okay.
And let's see if it's happening still. No. So it's with Dylan. So
Yeah.
Dylan, even though you have you know what's wrong or how to fix it? Well, you're still on mute, so we're not hearing you.
yeah, I'm just gonna call in for the audio.
You're not gonna
Hopefully that'll
you're
solve
gonna
the
call
problem.
in separately. Okay, cool. As long as we can still see you, bro. By the way, is that a
I think so. I think you should.
magic wand behind you? It looks like a magic wand from this angle.
That's a broom.
I was
Here
thinking
is,
it's probably a broom or something, but it was just at the
Staff.
right scale that it looked like a magic wand next to you.
It's my Quidditch broom, is what it is.
Okay.
I was catching the snitch earlier. So yeah, I'm just gonna call in here. Yeah.
Hello, Todd.
Okay, so it's just giving me some numbers.
Great to see you.
How you doing, Jared?
I'm doing great. So I'm just seeing from Emiliano's going to join us in 10 minutes. Okay, cool. Great to have you here, Todd. We got a couple other people joining us. So Kat, Dylan, Todd, great for you guys to see each other. We'll be getting to know each other in a moment with our introductions here. I'll also be making an announcement about the recording since we're already recording now. So I'll mention that in a moment.
Sure.
We have everybody on. Hello, Aaron. Great to have you.
Hey.
Hello.
So nice to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. Great to have you here. We're still waiting on two other people, and then we'll get started with our. Well, we're already recording, as you guys saw, just because I need to capture all the awesomeness, whatever happens. So let me just send a quick message. Couple messages. Make sure everybody's on. Kat, can you send a message to Satya?
I just did. Yep.
Perfect. And I'll send a couple messages here real quick. Let me mute for just a moment.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes, perfect. You
Oh,
sound
okay.
great and there's no echo.
Great. So awesome.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Aaron.
Oh, that wasn't me. But do you want me to say something?
No, you don't have to. Oh.
That was Dylan.
Oh, that's Dylan. Oh, hey, Dylan. Sorry, I wasn't looking at it. Okay. Did you want to say something, Dylan?
I was just checking that my audio was working, and Kate, I guess, she told me that it's working okay.
Yeah.
Kat. Okay. Kat McCall. I was looking for your name there. Let me put up my participant.
Hey, Michael. Welcome to.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to know everybody. There's a lot of interesting faces so far.
Yeah.
Jared, how are you?
Great to have you here, Michael. Glad that you're here. Thank you for the last message.
Very welcome, and I apologize for any sort of wishy-washiness. I just wanted to make that clear, and I'm glad to be here. And I just filled up my tank, and I've got some hours to drive, so I will be listening.
Excellent.
Awesome. Yeah, great to have you here. That's so
Cool,
great.
cool.
Yeah, so we're going to start in a moment as Satya joined us here, but I'll just give a little context while we're waiting. Is that Satya, who's about to join us, connected me with Kat. Kat connected me with Michael. Michael, I'm sure, is going to connect me with somebody, and this is what, and this is what's happening already. I just want you guys to see that it's already starting to hit these numbers of generations down the line when somebody like Satya and then Kat and now Michael gets on fire about this, and it's so perfect and it's so great, and that's what this is all about. What we're doing right now. I'll mention again. Well, I'll wait till Satya's here. Are you connecting with Satya there, Kat?
Yeah, she says to go ahead and start. She's handling something and she'll jump in as soon as she can, and she apologizes. Yeah.
Okay. And Emiliano said he's going to join us in 10 minutes as well. So let me start then with the recording message. So as you guys all know, we're being very open source about the whole project and sharing everything. So this meeting is being recorded specifically so we can show the world what we're up to as a leadership council. So to begin with, can we just have everyone's agreement that we can share this video publicly? With a thumbs up to confirm, or if we can't see your thumb, with a verbal yes. And actually, Todd, the video doesn't capture the emoji, so we actually are going to have to see your. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Michael. Thank you guys for all agreeing to that. And I know it's a little weird as you're looking at it all at each other and don't know each other. So we're going to start to have each of you introduce yourselves in just a couple moments here. I'm just going to set a little bit of the context first, and then we'll dive right into the self-introductions, as I've mentioned to you guys, and I know you guys are ready for. So first of all, to remind you guys, and I sent this to each one of you, although now that I'm thinking about it, Michael, I don't think you got it, but everyone else got it, where basically our first half hour is going to be our self-introductions, the 2 to 3 minutes each, as I had suggested, and you guys can use the 2 or 3 minutes however you want, but there's some suggested answers that you can provide us with. And then we're going to have 30 minutes of presentations by the students and some of the collective solution framework users. And then we're going to follow that with 30 minutes of brainstorming about how we can best use the council and the council meetings and all of that. So any questions about how this meeting is going to flow, or any comments or feedback that anyone wants to provide?
Good.
Okay, great. So I'm going to provide, again, more context for the whole project and where we're at with the project, just like 5-minute context here so that you guys are even more clear about what's happening. I haven't shared like all of these details with everybody necessarily. So first of all, I do think everybody here knows that the project is newly open source in the sense that many things from the whole collective solutions framework to the information for action system and the nano actions and the experts for action and all these different solutions that we're bringing forward right now were hidden behind non-disclosure agreements and all of that, not sharing with anybody up until just September. So that's a big shift, and because of that big shift, you guys are the ones receiving all the information for the first time. There's going to be things shared on this video that have never been shared before. So it's like we're building our whole library of what this is all about, like one conversation at a time, like I am as I'm speaking all this into the world. But this is a model for you guys as well, because you guys are doing the same thing. The framework exists to allow you to speak into the world, whatever it is that you want to create, especially in the areas like we've talked about that are of particularly interest to you, those channels that you're going to tune into, and you're going to be a leader in that channel just because you have something to say about it. And we'll get into those details as we go further along. but just to provide that context again. So that's the first part, is that we're speaking things into existence. And the other part is I just wanted to share with you guys the game plan moving forward, just to give you guys a sense of like the actualization of some of the technology that we're talking about and that sort of thing. So members on the platform, in terms of like opening this up, not necessarily to everyone, we're going to have to scale up a little bit, but let's just say all of our friends and our social network, and, you know, anticipating that we'll have a little bit of time before it goes super viral. Will be, my expectation is that by January 1st at the latest, actually I should say our first meeting in January, which is January 6th. You can mark it on your calendar now if you want. It's December 16th will be the next one, our next meeting, and then January 6th will be the next one after that, the first and the third Thursdays. So by the January 6th meeting at the latest, I would like us to be able to share Uniting for Action in our social media, where any friend that's interested in saying, well, what's this about? What can I do? That they can actually go onto the site. They can tune into a channel, you know, they can find your profile page, they can tune into a channel, they can see the information that exists on the channel, they can see the information that you recommend, they can see the information that you've submitted, all of those sorts of things. So that level of functionality I would like to have ready by January 6th. A lot of that functionality exists already. I've programmed a lot of that. I spent a year programming a lot of stuff. So it's a matter of just polishing it up. We do have to do a database upgrade before then. So either students doing that or paying somebody to do that. There's just a few things, a few different ways we need to get our ducks in a row, but that's the anticipated time frame in my mind, so that you guys have an idea of like, when can we send people to a functional version of channels and profiles and that sort of thing. So any questions about that, since that's new information to, I think, all of you? Any questions, comments, thoughts?
Will people be able to, oh, sorry, will people be able to populate their own page as you've asked for the information from us?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, great.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, Todd?
Is it a hard deadline?
It's not a hard deadline. That's the thing. I've been learning that, you know, with this system. There's so many different, you know, factors. So I'm just saying that I would really like to have it ready by then, because as you guys know, it's when that is ready and working that there's a whole lot more that can be done with this, right? There's only so long we can keep talking about it in theory, and it's okay to talk about it in theory amongst us, because like we get it and we understand it needs to be built and all that sort of thing. But when we start to want to reach out to the masses, more of the population is going to need to see something to really like be able to sink their teeth into it, right? So it really just helps us bump up the percentage of how many people are interested enough to take a second look. That percentage will go up very significantly when we have a system that people can actually use, right? So that's essentially the urgency for us, as quickly as we can get to that. So any other questions about that?
Sounds good.
Okay, great. And let us welcome Emiliano. Emiliano, so great to have you here. Thank you for joining us. We haven't done the self-introductions yet. We're about to get into that. So the one thing we have done is just confirmed with everyone that everyone is cool with us sharing this video publicly. So can you just give us a thumbs up to confirm that we can share this video publicly? Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. And great to have you here. So, okay, let me just give it again, finish up this quick context so that we can get into the actual intros. So members on the platform, working channels, I covered that. So I'm not even going to get into the framework now. You guys have seen the framework and we've talked about it. So let's just dive right into the intros. So the first thing I want to say again is that, well, actually now that I'm saying, I did not know Kat and I did not know Michael before this process. So it's all, we're already getting the viral sharing like I shared. Those of you that I have known for a while, some longer than others, Todd and I knew each other back in high school, actually. We go way, yeah, we go way back. And we are fraternity brothers. So Todd is actually my little brother from our fraternity at the University of Colorado. So Yeah, and we've been pretty disconnected for a long time now. It's been many years since we've really been in regular touch. We've been in touch, like see you every few years, kind of been in touch for what, like 20 years, basically. It's been like 20 years since we've been in like regular touch. So it's really awesome to have Todd here. As I'm saying that, maybe Todd's it's appropriate for you to get started, Todd, and kick us off and share, you know, why you're here, what you want to create in being here, and thank you for being here.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I've known Jared a long time. And yeah, we've been through a lot together, I believe. I too am a graduate from the University of Colorado with an aerospace engineering degree.
Todd got an aerospace engineering degree as well. So we just doubled our rocket scientists on this project.
One and a half.
1.5. Okay.
Yeah, no, but yeah, I mean, since I had the degree, I moved to New York City, and there I found a bunch of jobs to do. Actually, my most current job, or sorry, my job before this was with a publishing company, and I was the director of licensing and syndication. And I'll get back into why I think that's a good lead in for this. I was married. I had two kids, and then unfortunately, I had a stroke, and you know, my right side doesn't perform well, and you know, while I still worked after I had the stroke, I'm no longer working now. But what I've done since then is I've gone into the app business. So if you go to the App Store, there are a bunch of apps created by me. So that was just to make sure that I had, you know, at least two marbles. But no, I mean, what I plan to do here is I plan to have a disability channel. I don't know exactly what the disability channel will be. I've been reading about what's happening, specifically with disability and COVID. And there's a big, basically, there's a big finding from that. So I'm in the middle of working my way through 275 pages of stuff on disability and COVID. But getting back to my experience with licensing is the fact that I can I basically have the means by which to get our permission to put up certain things on the website, and you know, if anybody has has an issue with not being able to get the rights, you know, come to me and I can see if I can find a way to do it. So that's it.
Todd is the rainmaker when it comes to rights. That's awesome, Todd. Thank you for bringing that. It sounds amazing. And as Todd has shared with me, you know, an early application of that within what we're doing is like all of these peer-reviewed research articles and that sort of thing that are out there, you know, in the academic world, that a lot of them are locked behind paywalls of a lot of these corporations and that sort of thing. And so potentially Todd has talked about how we could potentially create, you know, some kind of licensing or some kind of agreement with some of these companies where we could potentially show like previews or partial information, or have certain subscription rates or whatever it looks like, or be a referring organization if anybody then becomes a subscriber. There's all kinds of different types of business relationships possible with different you know, entities that have information. And as you guys know, one of the things we're doing with the Information for Action system is being a central source of information, all the information that exists in the world. So we're always linking to the external link, but now with the work Todd is doing, that external link could have a relationship with us that could, again, create a positive feedback cycle and be a part of the whole ecosystem that we're building out. So really exciting that Todd's bringing that. And also just one last thing with what Todd said with disabilities, maybe not all of you know, as something that not all of you know, that my brother is autistic and he lives in a group home in Broward where I live. And so, and he actually just happened to move group homes just within the last couple of weeks, which has only happened for him like 3 times since he moved out of my mom's place when he was 18, you know, more than 20 years ago. So the part about that is that my mom got very interested in what was happening with the state funding for disabilities a couple years ago. She was very concerned, as she's been every few years, because that's an issue for the disabilities community in Florida on a repeating basis, as it is in most states on a repeating basis. And so my mom was so worked up about it that we actually started focusing, and that was when the programming started, of Uniting for Action focusing in the area of disabilities. And so this was again an earlier incarnation 3 years ago when we were issue oriented, but we went really deep into disabilities for a year. So because we did that, there's a whole lot of material that we developed, a whole lot of database that we developed that I'm all putting into Todd's hands at this point, and he can do whatever, you know, he wants of it, but he's got some head starts already with some depth in the disabilities community, which is awesome. And, you know, it's a personal appreciation that Todd is taking that on as well. My mom is very excited that Todd is doing that as well. So thank you, Todd. Really awesome. Cool, cool. And with that, I want to actually have Aaron go next. And I want Aaron to share, I'll share very quickly that Aaron, it's been now a few years since I've connected with Aaron. As you guys know, I've been disconnected from everybody. When Aaron and I were last connected about 5 or 6 years ago, it's more like 6 or 7 years ago, when we were doing the mystical human training that Aaron has shared in the past, and he'll share, you know, more about what he's up to. But the training that I did with him, as well as the meditations that I had been to his on and off for years, and just all the breath work, there's so many different levels that Aaron helped me really be the best person that I could be, and was at sort of one of my peak states of consciousness and energetic, everything, just like on all levels, firing on all cylinders. So I'm so grateful that Aaron is here, showing up, you know, not only supporting me in my life again, but now gets to play that role for this whole world that we're attracting. And that's the other part. I apologize, I left it off. I'm gonna just mention it really quickly before Aaron goes, is that a lot of what we're doing, as I see it, and this is, you know, Aaron gets into this directly, with what we're doing with becoming vibrational beings and employing the law of attraction, what I've done as much as I can is I've designed systems, I've engineered systems with what we're talking about to be able to facilitate, like in the physical world, how the law of attraction manifests itself, right? So when we talk about, let me actually show you the slide I created for this now that I've gone down into this. So we're actualizing the law of attraction by, first of all, creating a vibration, right? A really strong vibration around uniting for action at this moment, the collective solutions framework. What that looks like in terms of, our physical world, that looks like people being inspired, people being enrolled. I know there's a lot of landmark people here, so touch, move, and inspired, right? So what does it look like to set a vibration? Well, it looks like this. It looks like to inspire people at the highest level of vibration, right? And then the next thing that we're doing is we're opening up all of these channels through relationships, right? And that's exactly what we're doing with the Leadership Council, is that we've been in an incubation stage as an organization. Now we're ready to get out into the world. We're surrounding ourselves with the core people that are so resonant already at the vibration that we're putting out into the world, that they're willing to show up and be a Leadership Council member with all of the expectations that come with it. And you guys are those first people, which is amazing. You guys are the early adopters of the leaders. Like, again, to set the intentionality, my intention is that we have all 50 leaders of the Leadership Council on the council by January 6th. So my setting of goals is that we have, at least 30 by our next meeting on December 16th, and then at least, 50 by the 6th. And, it's up against obviously holidays and all those other considerations. So there's definitely, other energies going in other directions. However, I feel like with the virality and with the strong intention that we're setting, that it's very doable. And it's really just a matter of who talks to who and all of that. And Kat's been showing us what that looks like already, which is great. So I'm just saying that because I want you guys to be thinking of it, that not only are we creating this, the last part of that formula, just to show you guys again, is once we have the vibration and then we open up the channels through all of these different relationships, and the relationships you have and the relationships they have, then it's just simply a numbers game, right? A percentages. Like, we have an idea that there's a certain percentage of the population that's going to resonate with this, right? So if we just want to have more people, we just have to go through more people to get to that percentage, right? If it's 5%, then that's another 100 people we have to talk to get to the next 5, right? Whatever that looks like. But just by playing those number game, we know that there's enough people across the United States as a starting point that we can easily have thousands, tens of thousands of people that are resonating with what we're creating right now. And so it's really just a matter of how quickly we get our, videos inspiring enough that our videos are getting forwarded along, not just one generation or 2 generations, but it's in that viral mode, right? Where it's a more than +1 that it's getting shared, and it just gets shared out to everybody. And now the 10,000 people have found us, right? Because our videos are, so it's just that kind of process. And I just want to share with you guys that for me, and I hope you guys feel this, it's not really a question of whether we're going to have success or not. We're having success already, right? It's really just a matter of what do we do to drive the acceleration of the success, right? What do we do to ramp up the volume if we know we need, it's a numbers thing. If we know our videos need to be more inspiring, what do we need to do to make our videos more inspiring? So it's all these pieces that are very well known, right? It's not like it's a real mystery about how we do any of this. It's all been figured out before. And not only that, but there's people that are amazing at each one of these different pieces, right? Which is why we're declaring this on video and putting it out there, so that we don't have to try to gain new skills that we don't have or learn anything new or anything like that. All we have to do is find the people that are both really great at doing what we need done, and 2, really excited about what we're doing. And they're like, hey, I'm ready to do that, right? And so it's really just a matter of, the more people we get out to, the more they have friends that do this, and they have friends that do this. And this is the process. So again, we've already begun that process. It's already happening. Satya to Kat, Kat to Michael, Michael to whoever. We're in the process already. So it's just a matter of letting it flow, letting it go. I'm having to practice that a lot. There's people on, this council that are helping me with that. That's a large part of it. Some of you have had that conversation with me already. So it's really a matter of just being in the process, and each one of us being committed to being in a process together, having the trust and the faith, and just letting, the divine flow through us and letting it all be perfect. So that's the energy that we're holding. And in that collective trust and faith and just moving and doing it and working it, we will create it. So that's what we're doing. With that, I welcome Linda Satya. Satya is here. Thank you, Satya, for being here, who brought us to Kat, who brought us to Michael. So we're in the process of self-introductions right now, Satya, so we'll have you go in a little bit. Aaron's going to go next. But before we start, just to let you know, Satya, we've all agreed to make the video public. So can you also agree that we can make this video public with a thumbs up? Thank you to confirm that. That's all. Well, thank you so much. So Aaron, please take it away, and thank you for being here and all that you're bringing. I really greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely, Jared. Thank you, thank you. And you know, I'm here because I've known you for many years now, and you've always impressed me with just your intelligence and your the way that you are, and the ideas and the visions that you've had, and we've shared so much in the past, back when we were training, and I always used to introduce Jared as my rocket scientist buddy, and so. I teach the internal arts, and it's really consciousness training. It's body, mind, spiritual disciplines. It's a deep dive into the esoteric wisdom teachings, and these are all really science of self. So this is like understanding ourself on a deeper level, how our mind, how our energy, how our body really work, and then what its relationship is with nature, with each other, with humanity, our brothers and sisters, and with spirit, or we could say creator or source. And so I really am passionate about teaching. I absolutely, am excited to have a large platform to teach from. I'm a big advocate of YouTube, and I love my YouTube education. Like anything I want to learn, it's like in the Matrix when you plug into the machine and you learn to fly a helicopter in like a download. It's like I'm constantly searching on there, learning things. Like I've been building camper vans, and I've been building all kinds of stuff, but it's like anything that I just need to know, I can go on. And I love that this vision for Uniting for Action, it really embodies part of that, but it also brings community, and it has a bigger purpose of really driving towards solving world issues. So I definitely can stand behind that. And, I feel like I'm going to stick with my I guess expertise, but I want to bring it into the channel, into a bigger audience, and be able to just, I guess, have a louder voice. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron. That's so great. Thank you for sharing all of that. That's beautiful. So
I don't know whether to say amen or om.
Yes.
that's really great. With that, I'm going to have actually Dylan share next. I think it's a great transition from what Aaron just shared to a real specific thing that Dylan has. He's going to share more with us in the next half hour as we get into the use of the framework. But let me introduce Dylan, another fellow engineer, which I'm really excited to have in the project. So Dylan, please introduce yourself and share what you're up to and why you're here.
Hi, yeah, I'm Dylan Tilley, and I grew up in South Florida. Have been, focused on environmental issues when I was younger, and studied marine science at FGCU, and I have my bachelor's and master's in ocean engineering from FAU, and I worked, kind of took me a while to get a real engineering job, but I kind of worked in education as a STEM teacher, and kind of had my own businesses doing a lot of different things for people, from permaculture to architecture kind of installations. I used to work as a journeyman carpenter in California for a little while. Kind of was all over the place. But now I was a naval architect. They sent me all over. I went to Japan to there's naval bases there to do ship checks and stuff like that. I used to have a secret level U.S. security clearance, and now I'm an aerospace engineer with a company in West Palm Beach. So we got 3 aerospace engineers.
Go Florida. I'm from California, but I'll just say go Florida because I think it's awesome.
We are packing the council there. We're packing the
like
council
the-
with rocket scientists, just so
The
we
new
can.
spiritual capital of the nation, at least. We can declare it.
We're the capital of the what?
We're the spiritual hotspot of the nation. And
Oh yeah.
there's a collective here for
It's-
sure. A big, it's kind of interesting because it's like a vortex of many nationalities. So it's like a kind of, but
Yeah, I think the East Coast is the new West Coast. Kind of people are coming in Miami, especially. It's this like international thing for sure. But why I joined the committee was to kind of help activate, pursue this vision of what I've been calling the Premier Culture Institute. And I could show you guys like a website and some stuff. I have a playlist, like Aaron mentioned, like learning on YouTube, some of the really like inspirational people, involved with the mission. But basically, the biggest issues in the world are related to climate change at this time, like the most urgent issues for our civilization. And that just includes, ocean sea level rise and, temperature rise. But all of those issues go back to carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere. And most of the oxygen is produced by the oceans, the reefs, and the coastal areas are the productive areas where there's nutrients. And so what we really need to do is create more photosynthesis in the earth. We need to be able to feed a lot of the billions of people that are coming on the earth. And, the fisheries are in collapse. Like there's this concept called the blue revolution that really the next phase for us to go is to colonize the oceans. And so if you're familiar with permaculture, you can think of like that applied to oceans. And so sustainable mariculture is a really important part of what I'm trying to pursue. And
also like the rainforest.
As well as like ocean technologies.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm a vegetarian and I did it because of compassion to animals, and then I found that it was a health benefit. But really, if everyone is a vegetarian, no one could starve. But to think that we're taking down the rainforest that has answers and gifts and miracles, and because plants are medicine, everybody's so going to drugs for medicine. But I had a brain injury, and all they could give me was Xanax. And after suffering for a year, after 1 week and a half of taking tinctures of plants, I had at least 80% of my sanity. And yeah, so I
That's great. Linda, that's awesome. I'm a big proponent of herbalism. If you're interested, the Florida Herbalism Conference is in February, and Florida Earth Skills gatherings also around that time. And there's a lot of herbalists there, But
and I'll just say
really,
one more
that
thing.
whole
I'm
idea
sorry
of
to
plant
interrupt you.
medicine.
I'm just sorry to interrupt. One more thing. Just sorry. Just because
Oh, it's fine.
it's really actually pertinent to our to prevent our extinction, which is happening. And this is what people don't get. So I just want to emphasize. Back to you.
No, I'm comfortable doing any kind of dialogue. We could bounce things around, but I'll try to, incorporate what you were mentioning, because you talked about the rainforest and the healing properties of plants. Like the reefs are the rainforests of the oceans, and that's really kind of where I'm trying to focus this bigger project into something more tangible that we can, help in my area around here. There's coral reefs that are suffering, and that's what I want to focus on is like coral gardening. Essentially, we can rent land, sovereignty submerged land from the FLACS.
You're going to actually share it, Dylan. So you're going to share your page and what you're up to. So we'll save that part for the next portion.
We'll save all of the details. It gets these. I was just trying to talk about myself and stuff, but just to piggyback off of what Linda was saying about medicines, you know, Harbor Branch does a lot of research into novel compounds from marine organisms, especially corals and soft corals, and they have been shown to like so much promise for like anti-cancer properties and all kinds of diseases. So, you know, we should look to the ocean for medicines as well as so many other things.
Absolutely. It's
But,
so great. Yeah, it's so great. I really appreciate all that you're sharing, Dylan. I really appreciate the grounded reality that you're bringing into this, because you've got a real specific project with real specific goals. You're going to be a really great model with what you're doing of how to use the framework. You know, we're going to work on attracting interns to be working with Dylan and working on this project. So it's going to be, you know, a really great example and model of all of that. And I know we started to get into almost a little bit of the brainstorming there. And I just want to, you know, kind of keep things as tight as we can, because I do want to have time for brainstorming. And so I'll just reiterate, we let's stick the rest of us to only 2 to 3 minutes to our intro. And then also Satya and anybody else, just keep the comments until the brainstorming part so we can breeze through this and have some time to brainstorm. So I'm excited for the enthusiasm and already what's bubbling up between us. So it's really, really great. And Satya, you're about to go and introduce yourself, but I'm going to have Emiliano do it first. I'm going to have Emiliano and then Satya, because Satya, I want you to introduce Kat and Michael. Then Michael will go next, and I want Kat to go last because Kat's been really involved on a whole nother level. So I want to acknowledge her and thank her for that. So let's go ahead and have Emiliano go ahead and introduce himself. And thank you, Emiliano, for being here and answering the call and, you know, joining us. It's really great to have you here. I'm very grateful for your presence.
Thank you. Hey everybody, my name is Emiliano. I know Satya and Kat and
Michael.
and Michael. I just haven't seen his picture, so I don't know which Michael that is, but I'm sure I'll recognize his voice. So I live right now in Maryland. I used to live in Fort Lauderdale as well. And I'm currently working in the agriculture industry. So I work closely with farmers and with value add producers, helping them expand their businesses and working in an entrepreneurship center. That's what I do, and very excited to do it because it's always been my passion to support entrepreneurship and to bring the way I see it is help people's dreams make them happen and help them, you know, visualize and materialize. That's what I love about my job, and I'm excited to be here because
Emiliano, we missed that very last part, and I know you said something that you love about your job, so we want to hear what it is that you love about your job. You got fuzzy there, so can you repeat that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, my internet is probably, but I was saying
You're good now.
Okay, what I love about my job is that I get to help others build their dreams, and that's what I get to do every day by helping entrepreneurs accomplish their businesses. So yeah, I was saying I'm excited to be here because, well, Jared invited me, and I know Jared also, like I think Aaron mentioned, he's always up to big things, and I trusted when he called me and decided to show my support and see where this, you know, this takes us. So looking forward to being here with everybody.
I'm very grateful for that level of support, Emiliano. Thank you for verbalizing that, because I know a lot of you are in that boat that it's like, I don't know where the hell this is going, but if Jared thinks it's going somewhere, maybe he's onto something. Let's see where this goes. So I really appreciate whatever parts of that each and one of you have been dealing with. So thank you so much. It's really awesome. Satya, please share, and then also, you know, share just a short intro for Kat and for Michael as well, of who they are to you to bring them here. And
So Michael is
thank
actually
you
on
for
the
being
call.
here.
I
Yeah,
just
thank
want to
you.
say, hi, Emiliano. It took me a while to figure you out. I was like, you've become a man. And I was so interested to see what kind of man you would become, because I knew you were going to do amazing things. And like, look at you, here we are. Not surprised. And oh, where to start? 2 minutes. Someone has the timer, right? I didn't prepare, but I'm going to speak from the heart. So Kat and Emiliano and Jared, we've all traveled in the circles of, shall we say, hardcore seekers. And whether it was an ayahuasca ceremony, a personal development program, which can be so confronting and hardcore, and all those things that you have to be brave about to really get past all the things that are not us, to get to why we're here, because the calling is so great. I think that's at the heart of what I feel with my brothers and my sisters. And apart from the fact that I do feel related to everybody, and it's proven we have 2 bloodlines, we actually all are related. So I'm here, I know I care about the world to the degree that I can't ignore it. And the messages are clear, and which is why I keep getting connected with people like you and Jared. I so acknowledge you, my brother, for taking the time to figure this out, because there's a lot of people that are thinking about the same things, and there is a collective. And a lot of people are wondering, am I the only one thinking this? And no, it's not. And I'm in the mindset of magic and miracles, and that things can change so quickly and overnight. If marijuana is legal in my lifetime, I've always believed anything is possible, but now I'm like, I'm all in. I'm all in for what we're here for. I know some people will say, like, it's crazy talk, but normally with normal people, I would preface it like that. But with you guys, I think you understand that we know that we have gifts and talents. And like Emiliano, I want everybody to understand, like, the highest calling, the highest level of fulfillment is living who, your highest, what's your potential for yourself and your life. For me, that's the greatest experiment. And everything that I've learned in my hardcore seekership, I want to pay forward to my brothers and my sisters in every which way possible, because I believe that, and I want community cooperation. Always been about that. I've always been about making a difference. And it's great to make a difference, but I'm in the mindset now, like, what is worthy of my life kind of make a difference. So you guys showed up in that conversation, and that's why I'm here, and to plug in and use me for however.
It's so awesome. Thank you so much for saying that, Satya. And it's great. It's great that you're putting it that way, because I have to share something that's happened repeatedly in this project, which is really kind of extraordinary. You want to share, Satya, because you just told me yesterday, right? I didn't know this.
Oh yeah. We should put some juice in there.
Yeah, go ahead and share it. Sure.
So Kat, your ears are perked up, because Kat is my best girlfriend. She's my mirror, my soulmate, my alien sister guiding us on the journey here, superhero journey. And we go crazy deep. And we stand for a world of, like, and we were in the conversation of, like, we were just sharing with each other, and the realization of, we just realized, like, how quickly things can happen, like magic and miracles. She shared me a TED talk of a woman who was a facilitator for Landmark that was talking about abracadabra. And I am in that spirit. Only 100 years ago, my grandma didn't have washer, dryer, telephone, TV. And now we have, we have in our lifetime. So we have a few more years together here to see what's possible. And in the mindset. So Kat and I were talking about magic and miracles, and how fast, the collective came together, the power of that, the group dynamics of that. And so we were like a stand for magic and miracles. And then an hour later, Jared calls me.
Wow.
which is like where we live in. We live in magic and miracles, right? Cat wear a stand for like what's possible. I've always lived in what's possible. What I want to share with everybody is that you should live there too, because magic and miracles happen. You know, it's like, if it's 1% possible, then I'm all in. You know, everything came from an idea, a thought, a dream, and people believing. So we believe.
Yeah.
We want you to be a believer too.
Well, the amazing thing, like you said, Satya, and thank you for sharing that, is that I called you within an hour of you guys doing that, which I didn't realize until yesterday when you told me.
How fast can we
But that-
change the world? Like,
Right, but
it
that
happened
was
like that.
that was the first time that I had called you in 5 or 6 years. So that's kind of the significant part of it. It's
And he
not
showed
like
up on my phone as the goddess dancer.
it's-
We used to promote goddess dancers and
And I can insert that I called Michael on a very important day for him, like an anniversary type day, 11/23, which is actually the beginning of the Fibonacci sequence, at 11/23 to tell him about Jared.
that's the way your brain thinks.
and I'm gonna let Michael share
And
that.
Michael, can I just say, like, in a word?
Genius.
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 And actually, you know, he speaks the truth of everything that we already know. So he's great confirmation. He's light years ahead of us. We're all connected in some way, whether it's, you know, aliens, light years here and there. And he is here with the wherewithal of seeing things that I think are helpful.
Satya and everyone else. First of all, I'm sorry about not showing my face. It's only because I'm driving across the United States, and even if I had the camera on, you wouldn't be able to see me. So I mean no disrespect to everyone that my face is not on there, but to those who don't know my face, just imagine Jared with just like a whole heap of blonde hair kind of flowing down in front, something like that. And Satya, it's so good to see you, and thank you for that. And Emiliana, oh my God, this is the Michael who you dragged to Landmark and then had to go speak Spanish to somebody. So I ended up partnering with the Landmark forum leader to save her drinking problem. So, so I don't know if you remember me, but man, it's very, very wonderful to see you, as I said, growing up. And I always knew that you would be headed in a wonderful direction. As far as just an introduction to even the other people, now I'm very confused as to what I should throw out there to anybody, because I think part of, and I think this has been reflected in some of the things that Satya just said, that all of you have just said, is that I think that there's sort of a very grounded, real desire to help this planet, along with a very generally sometimes ungrounded spiritual sort of-ness to this that is being brought to this. And I think that if you marry those two things, that is absolutely where this planet has to go. And I understand that the people coming to this really beautifully care about the planet. I mean, in Todd's short thing, you could see how much he cared about the ocean. And there's so many issues like this. To make it concise, what I really enjoyed in Jared's, we had a really wonderful discussion a couple of days ago, is really trying to bring some cohesive, decisive way to bring about a union of the horrible polarity that the planet is sort of on right now. It's trying to bring together voices that are in discord into some sort of accordance. And so that being said, I don't know. I mean, again, I never know how to answer this stuff. My name is Michael Smith. I was born with a pretty good brain. Wile E. Coyote, super, I was thinking of Wile E. Coyote as Satya was talking about that. I went to college in 6th grade. I studied computer science and digital electronics. I lost both my parents before I was 22. I went on to a prestigious Ivy League school and studied in London School of Economics and King's College. I have degrees in political science, philosophy, neuroperceptual psychology, computer science, on and on and on and on. I got out of school. I worked for a think tank for near Middle East foreign policy in Washington, D.C. Was very disenchanted by that. Went back to Vermont, got involved in some very large civic projects that I headed. I was the president of a 501c3 for 15 years. I built a 300-acre urban park. I got all the money in grant writing for a $3 million pedestrian bicycle path to get people to that park. But, and those are all kind of nice resume paper like things, but I always caution people in that really, you never know where the best ideas are going to come from. And if all you're relying is on a bunch of people's papered, degree backgrounds, that is not possibly going to account for the person who might change the world. And I would offer that when incoming MIT students first come to MIT, they are given problems that no one else has solved, equations that mathematicians have never solved, physics problems, in the hopes that before they're indoctrinated and get all their degrees and learn the theorems that they're to learn, that their mind might be the mind that solves the problem that nobody else could solve. So I would put that in this little mix as well. My logical, rational degree, scholarly given life gave way to a very deep dark night of the soul a decade ago, which led me to the Amazon jungle, which I feel like, despite all the fancy, stuff that you just heard, I feel like I learned more in the deep Amazon amongst an indigenous tribe looking up at the heavens every night on the equator than I ever did in any of the beautiful libraries and scholarly teachers that I had up until that point. I worked for Apple Computer for 15 years. Before they had the Genius bars, I was kind of the guy that they would send in if nobody else could figure out the problem. And then out of the jungle, there has been this very strange shift into sort of the shamanic realm. And I would say, gifted a medicine, a molecular formula that I wrote down one time in the middle of ceremony. And just so there's no, confusion, it was ayahuasca that Satya had already mentioned. I feel like I've gained a massive, really all the questions that I've been looking for in the libraries of these Ivy League schools and in London and the rest of it, I feel like I've found in that realm, which is very fascinating to me. And if you had told me 10 years ago that I'd be saying any of this, I'd be like, okay, I think you just checked out of here a little bit. But I think that pretty much would be my 3 minutes. Trying to stick to that, Jared.
Jared, you're muted.
Yeah,
Oh, there we
thank you.
go. Okay, great.
I appreciate that, Michael. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing all of that and just giving us some little tastes of where you might go with this, with your mind and your background. We really appreciate you being here. And I know there's more you can share about kind of the magical moments that brought this together as well. We'll have to, save that for some other time, or you guys can watch some of the videos or audio that Michael and my conversation. But for now, I want to hand it over to Kat. And as I was sharing, and she'll share more, but Kat has been one of the people that has gotten this on such a level that it's moved her to action, almost like like, of course, like it's not the way that I perceive it. It's kind of, because I experience it, you know, it's like when you get so moved that there's nothing else to do but what you are doing, like you do it, you know. And that's what I've been seeing from Kat, is that ever since I've shared some of these things with her, and then we've gone deeper, it's like she's connecting me with Michael and several other people that she's already just, you know, thinking and connecting and thinking and connecting, just because, you know, the possibility, the idea, the vision is so alive and enlivened within her that it's spreading from her to others just like naturally. And again, it's a process that we know is going to happen naturally, but like we've talked about, you know, the fact that we don't have all our videos yet, we don't have all the content on the website yet, all these different things that would be inhibitors in virality, you know, Kat's not waiting for any of that stuff. She's just out there, you know, sharing and being just naturally, which is amazing. And because of that, you know, I was in our executive team meeting this past Monday and thinking as I was working with the students, you know, that really Kat could probably give some really important insight now. And I was really realizing that Kat has been acting like an executive within Uniting for Action just naturally. So I spoke to Kat about it, and I invited her to join us in our executive team meeting next Monday, which she's going to do, and see if, you know, maybe she wants to join us regularly there, where however it flows. You know, I'm just so grateful and so appreciative of Kat showing up on the Leadership Council, not just, you know, to be on the Leadership Council, but she's showing up being a leader in her actions every day. And, you know, it's a really amazing model, and it's what, you know, it's what we're modeling. It's what we're all modeling, and it's what the world is going to be following. So thank you so much, Kat, for being the trailblazer of us, the trailblazers, and for all the energy and amazing, you know, action that you've been in as a result. It's been awesome to witness.
Well, thank you, Jared. That was really generous. Thank you. I think that what we're sitting upon here could become a Consumer Reports of solutions. So Consumer Reports is this magazine, and they say the 10 best vacuum cleaners and why, and it's independently vetted supposedly, and they sell these products. Well, the world right now desperately needs solutions, and everybody has their fragmented solutions they're working on, such as the nonprofits, for example, as Jared talks about. But we need to get on the same page, and I know technology has the ability to do that. And so I loved the framework immediately. I've been in the technology business. My name is Catherine, but I go by Kat, and my maiden name Krebs actually means photosynthesis, Krebs cycle. So I'm a big lover of plants, plant medicine. You know, I love the ocean project that you're working on. And I am a transplant from the Midwest. I currently live in Miami Beach. I do have a master's degree in marketing from Northwestern, but I've been a lifelong learner, self-development stuff like Landmark, a lot of plant medicine ceremonies, a lot of self reflection. And having been with a very successful tech startup that, you know, was sold to a $44 billion company in 2007, I do know the potential of technology to improve the world. And so my vision for the world that I'm here to create is rather lofty. I like to use Landmark speak, but I'm standing for a world that works for everyone, no one left out. I joined the Leadership Council because I see the potential for the framework to bring people together in a very organic way. And I say organic because, you know, one of the world's largest companies, Google, they have paid search and organic search, but organic has the most value because it's not, it's something that, wow, people are really authentically interested in a certain thing. So those keywords populate, et cetera, et cetera. So I think we can solve real world problems by creating kind of a new language, a new focus on solutions. Right now, the world is looking at what doesn't work, and we're so accustomed to speaking about what doesn't work, and that's not working. And so if we can create a solution-oriented space that's kind of untaintable, I say that because, you know, I hope, Jared, you won't sell the company till it's worth $1 billion. You know, put a price tag, put a, but like,
I'll never sell.
there you go. That's what I love. Like, it's not about that. Like, you even mentioned that you realized that you had this great thing that you could sell, and you realize the world needs it much more than what you're enriching yourself would be worth. So I believe that we will attract the right kind of people that will in turn attract the right kind of people. And my interests lie in creating new structures specifically for healthcare, politics, and environment. You know, I have my real estate degree. I've been in marketing for a long time and sales, and you know, sound bites sell nowadays, and we could get very creative on how we entice people to the platform, because people, once they get excited about solving a solution, I don't know how many of you here have volunteered for stuff, but I've walked dogs for free, and I've watched, you know, I've gone to old people's homes to try to help them go through transition. What do they call that one? Hospice. And the thing is, those volunteer things were short-lived, because I just thought, I'm not making a big enough mark like this. Like, I want to help, but like, I want to make a bigger mark. And I think everybody wants to make a big mark. So if we can find these ways that you mentioned, those 3 ways, and I think I'm about to go over my 3 minutes, but we all have time, money, energy. And if we can organize it in a way where we're measuring the nano successes, if you will, I mean, people will get excited about that, because everybody's so fragmented. So we have an opportunity here to create real community, but like a big one, and focused on solutions. So that's it.
That's so awesome. Yeah. Thank you for sharing all that. It's really, really great. I really appreciate where you're coming from with all that and all that you just shared. It's so perfect. So yeah, thank you, Emiliano, for the claps. I agree. Let's give claps for Kat and for everyone.
Yay.
We all
Yes.
deserve claps for being here, for showing up, for contributing, for being on the bleeding edge. The early adopters of the early adopters are you. So let me just, as I'm looking at the time, let me set us up, because I shared with you guys that this meeting would go until 9:30. So I totally understand anybody that has to leave at 9:30. I can tell you already that we're already going to go a little bit over, maybe more if we want to do brainstorming, because we have one of the things that we have that was the second half hour. We're starting the second half hour now, an hour in. The one of the things that we prepared for this second half hour is the reports, essentially, of where we're at with the project, right? And what I asked each of the student teams to do over the last couple of weeks is to create a showcase where they could showcase all of the things that they've been working on as each team: the business team, the recruitment team, the research team, the production team, and the outreach team. They've all been gathering all of this up. I'm just going to show you very quickly, and then we'll actually get into looking at it. So they have, we've got this, oh, how was it actually? So this is our brand new Teams page. It hasn't even gone live on the site yet, but just to show you guys, because none of you have seen this, we haven't had anything like this on the site up until now. There's been essentially no place to see what the teams have been working on, but we've been, again, behind the scenes working on this. Now you have on the Teams page, this is our full team meeting, but it's not just the most recent video, it's actually the playlist of all the past weeks. So anybody can go in and see all of the weeks of all of our full team meeting. And then not only for the full team, but as you scroll down, it's every team, and every one of these is a playlist for the executive team, for the business team, for the recruitment team, along with a link to that particular team page. And again, all of this is new to get all of our work again out there into the world. And then down here, students, the video of the students, here's some of the schools we've had students from if you haven't seen it. And then the outreach team is the one that we've built out so far. There's still going to be things that we're going to add to it, but just to show you guys again. So the outreach team, again, the playlist of all the outreach team description, then it gets into the showcase. And this is what you guys are about to see is the showcase videos. So each one of the teams created a 3 to 5 minute video for us to see. They created it exclusively for you guys to be able to see what they've been doing, what we've been working on, including the FDA presentation and the outreach, the video processing that they've done. So I'm actually going to show you, and we'll start with this one with the outreach team, and then we'll get into the other teams. So this is going to take about 20 to 25 minutes for you guys to see all of this. And we essentially have to watch these because the students have created it for you. And I want you guys to really get a sense when you're watching this, not only of what they created, but what potential exists within the student population of our country. That's really the way to be looking at this, because all of these students came on with a much narrower focus. Here's the thing to remember. As I shared with you guys, it was only September that I decided we'd open source all of this, right? So all of the students came on when this was only, for the most part, the Vaccine Considerations Project, which was one model of what we could do using the framework, right? And several of you guys gave me some feedback as soon as you were taking a look at all of this, that, hey, what's with the vaccine things? Why are you all about the vaccines? That sort of thing. Just for the sake of sharing, not only for you, if you haven't heard it, I think most of you have, but also whoever might be watching this, is that we chose vaccines before they were approved with the idea of providing information to everybody, because we knew everyone would have to decide if they would get a vaccine or not. Everyone would want information about that, in particular expert information from the experts. So we were working on building a collection of information from the experts in order for everybody to make their own evaluated choice. So from that, you're going to see in some of these videos, you're going to see some very specific things that the students were working on in terms of messaging, like around the vaccinations and that sort of thing. So I want to frame it for all of you where we've completely shifted as a project in part and a lot, and we're actually going to make this a case study so everybody can see it. This is a case study in how to be a leadership council member, because it was actually a conversation that Aaron had with me specifically. You don't mind me sharing, Aaron, do you, about our conversation? So basically, Aaron was one of the people that said, what am I seeing about the vaccines? Where do you stand on it? Do you want to say something, Aaron, about it specifically?
No, I was just going to let you know, yeah, that's absolutely fine. You can talk about it.
Cool. So, and so Aaron brought this up, and we have a recording of this conversation that, again, I believe we're going to make public for everybody, so everybody can hear the original conversation and the concerns and all of that, and then how it got addressed. Because what I told Aaron was I had already been thinking about those things, and I was already planning to bring it up that night. He happened to share with me on a Thursday. This was about 3 Thursdays ago, I think. And we were having a team meeting that night. And then so I spoke to the team, and then we have the video of me speaking to the team and how it sussed that. But basically, the thing is that we as a project, we focused on the Vaccine Considerations Project as a model example of how to use this framework before it was even called a framework, because again, that's all been developing. But what happened again is that the Uniting for Action got too collapsed with that issue, to where when Aaron was coming to our website, he was seeing vaccines, and there wasn't us talking about any other issue other than vaccines, because that was the one model that we focused on, right? But that was never the intention of Uniting for Action. As all of you know, we've created Uniting for Action to address all issues, right? So the conversation that I had with all of the students to make sure that there was full buy-in on all of the students, because again, remember, Many of them are in the midst of their practicums. They've committed 120 hours, some of them 200 hours, making a commitment to us. And there's certain competencies that they have to fulfill by the end of the semester that we have to make sure that they fulfill. There's all kinds of paperwork. So there's a lot of, real making sure that we're handling all the academic rigor of what we're doing within the shift of the project, right? So, but all the students agreed. And what we did was we decided that the framework going forward, Uniting for Action, no longer provides content into this framework like we were with the Vaccine Considerations Project. What we're doing is we're being the framework where any student or any person can use the framework to pursue anything they want, right? Just like Dylan is pursuing his permaculture and Todd is pursuing disabilities, and Mike will pursue this and Catherine pursue it. Whoever, and we as a project, and this is what all of you love about it, we as an organization don't tell you what you can pursue or can't pursue and which things you can post and can't post. That's all up to you, right? And all of you understand, for the sake of the people watching that don't know all the context yet, all of that is posted with all the metadata, with all the contextual data, like how many people recommend this, how many people criticize this, of the people that recommend it, where, what are their credentials, of the people that criticize it, what are their credentials? So, it's within that context, that contextual framework, that is really what gives meaning to all of these different things. And that's what we provide the hosting for. So, going back to where we're at with all of this is that now what you're going to be seeing in some of the videos, in the research team video in particular, you're going to see students talking about, like, I did this research which then shows no link between this condition and the vaccines, and this can help with vaccine uptake, and this can help address vaccine hesitancy and all of that sort of thing. So I want you guys to understand it within the context that exists for this project, which is we are opening the project and opening the framework for any students to show up to pursue whatever conclusions they want to draw, whatever research they want to do, whatever they want to present to the world. We don't regulate what they do with the system, as we don't regulate what anybody does with the system. So you're going to see in the any questions about that or comments about that from anybody? I want to make sure that everybody is on board, especially as a leader, with where we're coming from around this. Yeah, Satya?
I just want to interject the power in what you're doing, because the father of psychology, who he's thought of as father of psychology, Carl Rogers, he found something magical that was happening in group dynamics. And he spent the rest of his life proving how large a group that could come together and organically, without anybody in charge, which is like what Burning Man and Rainbow Gathering has been doing, but he took it to the limit of before he died at 75, 500 people. And there's something that you're the platform that you're creating is so beautiful, because and you can trust in that, you build it and they will come, because there is something magical in group dynamics. And thank you for giving us a platform to play. And that's all.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Thank you for saying that. Aaron, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just so appreciate the freedom, because a lot of our freedoms have been censored, and a lot of people have wanted to share information, and their whole page crashes, their whole YouTube account gets taken down. It's so right now, a lot of people don't have a platform to really be fully expressed. And I think both sides of any issue are valid and should be able to be weighed in, and the individual then can make a choice or make a decision based on having all of the information, instead of it being, biased from the get-go. So yeah, I so appreciate that, leveling the playing field.
Yeah, absolutely. And giving what just about everybody, says they want, which is free speech, right? The ability to speak freely and have an opinion and feel strongly about your opinion or whatever, and to have all the contextual information, and there's a lot, we could go very deep into it, but I just want to, again, I'm going to show the video first as I'm thinking about the one where it gets into these specific vaccine related things, because again, I want everyone to be comfortable with the context. So the first thing to know is that as they show what they worked on, we never did publish these things. They didn't get posted on social media. This is the first time they're being seen by the world, is in the video being shown that they worked on them. So that's the first thing I want you guys to know, that nothing went out the door so far with Vaccine Considerations logo on it or Uniting for Actions logo on it. And now what the conversation I had with the students tonight, and they all agreed, is what we're going to do is each one of these things that they worked on, whether it's an infographic or an analysis or whatever it is, that we're going to take the Vaccine Considerations Project logo off. We're going to take the Uniting for Action logo off. And then this product that they created is going to exist on our website as the result of their work. It's going to be on their profile page. This is what I created using the framework without our logos on it, and essentially, again, open source, to where they're, you know, letting anybody grab it, put their logo on it, do whatever they want with it. And, you know, it's really their creation to do whatever they want with it, basically. Right. So that's where we're leaving it. And I just want to, again, I'm about to show you the video, but just want to make sure everybody here is comfortable, feels good, understands the stance that we're taking and where we're drawing the line in a way that we feel like is sustainable, because that way everybody can use our system. We're not regulating that. Having said that, we do have, you know, terms of use that prohibit hate language and all of those types of things. So, you know, you can't be, you know, all the things you can't do. But, you know, in terms of having opinions, we're not regulating that at all. So any questions from anybody about any of that, or any other comments before we get into looking at the videos? Okay, cool. So let's dive right in. And so we'll start with the research team, because again, that's where, let me think. It's actually the production team. Yeah, the production team video is actually 11 minutes, and I'm only going to show you the second half of that video, the last 5 minutes. So let me go into our videos here. So it's going to be the research team that gets into it. So.
Hello, everybody. My name is Katie McQueen, and I am getting my Master's of Public Health with a concentration in epidemiology at the Colorado School of Public Health. And I've had the amazing opportunity of being the research team lead. I'm here today to take you through some of the major projects that we have been working on as a team. Right, the first one we're going to look at is an analysis that we completed about political polarization and its impacts on the COVID-19 vaccine. This was done by myself and a team member, Hannah. In this analysis, we looked at the evidence that we have for political polarization within the COVID-19 environment and how that polarization has impacted political messaging and further impacted COVID-19 vaccination rates. And we also looked at some potential solutions to some disparities we found within our research. The next analysis was done by Renasia Saban at Lexis, and it looked at the impacts faced by minorities surrounding the COVID-19 vaccination. Their first points looked at the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic on minority populations, and also the top reasons why why minorities aren't getting vaccinated, and how, knowing these reasons, we can continue to build confidence around the vaccine within these populations, and how we can utilize incentives to decrease vaccine hesitancies that these populations might have. Right, the final analysis that we will look at was completed by Alexis and Renasia surrounding the COVID-19 vaccination in children. As we know, just recently the vaccination was approved for children 5 and up, so this is very timely. Right. In their analysis, they looked through some of the reasons why parents might be hesitant to get their children vaccinated. And again, how, knowing these concerns, we can build trust with parents and empower them to make the best decision regarding vaccinating their children. They also looked at some concerns when utilizing incentive programs for vaccinations, especially considering that this population is made up of minors. All right, jumping off of this, Sabah Tashin also submitted a proposal when the FDA was considering approving vaccination for children. Unfortunately, due to the lottery system, she was not chosen to present, but we applaud her for her amazing proposal. Within her proposal, she discussed the safety of the vaccine in regards to children. And she also discussed the weighing of the risk to benefit, especially considering the COVID-19 associated syndrome that some children get once they have gotten COVID-19, and further the FDA responsibilities when considering whether or not to approve the vaccine for children. All right, another FDA proposal that we as a team submitted was about when the FDA was considering whether or not to approve the Johnson & Johnson vaccine for booster usage. We were able to present for this one. In our proposal, we discussed some of the messaging that has come from the US government and how that has muddied the waters in terms of whether or not vaccinations should be used as boosters, especially with information going towards the public. And we also discussed the concerns that the WHO and other organizations have had concerning how using vaccinations for boosters could impact the global supply and the consequences of that. So these were the major projects that we have been working on as a team. I would like to applaud all of our amazing team members for their hard work and dedication throughout the semester. And I hope you all enjoyed this little walk through what we have been doing. Thank you.
Great. So any
meet your next pillow. Why do we make our pillow in the shape of a cube? I'll tell you. The problem with pillows is that you're trying to fit a round peg into a square.
Okay, great. So any questions or comments about that, especially with the context that we were talking about?
I'd like to say it was a nice way to see the framework utilized. And as far as like, you know, her research team, you know, fulfilling their college requirements of doing that research and putting it together, that was very impressive. However, I just want to state for the record that I am completely anti-vaxxer, and I don't think anybody and or their children should be vaccinated, period. But okay, so I'll leave that alone for now.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron, for sharing what you wanted to share there. And yeah, I appreciate again that the whole conversation that you opened through this and where it's led and where we are with it now and everything. It's really, really awesome. So
well, I can add to Aaron's comment is I was wondering how much of their data comes from the CDC, which is funded by Big Pharma.
Exactly.
Just a thought.
yeah, no, see, this is the great thing, and this is part of why I want you guys to think about, you know, how we get to work with students, because again, in my mind, and I've shared this with most of you, but let's think about this to where as we're expanding out and we're getting bigger and bigger and bigger, it's not going in the coming semester, in the spring semester, we're going to start to get into the dozens of students during the spring semester, but it's in the summer semester leading up to the summer semester that we have the potential, depending upon how viral we get, to literally get to hundreds, potentially hundreds, if not even thousands. The thousands, if not in the summer, for sure in the fall. And when we're getting to these kinds of numbers of interns that are working with us within a framework and all of that sort of thing, not only, and then even more, you know, as I project forward, I see where in years from now, it's like, how do any other corporations compete with us to have as good an opportunity for the students as working with us, right? And the students working with us, not only do they get to work within the framework and pursue whatever interests they have, but I've had the conversation with most of you that we're in a really unique, you know, situation where we get to essentially work with these students for a 3-month block of time and provide whatever leadership training and development we can, whatever personal training and development, whatever life balancing Aaron can teach them, all the different pieces that these students especially, and this is the thing, I don't know how recently you guys have worked with, early 20s people, but, most of them have very little, if any, of the type of training that we've been talking about, in terms of personal development and life skills and all of those sorts of things. So they're really, fertile ground to help, give input and influence that can really put them onto totally different life paths, and give them, especially like you're saying, Aaron, and Kat, the different things you're mentioning, that like, if students in a public health, program, ought to be getting exposed to some other alternative, concepts or ideas, then, where is that going to happen? At the moment, there's no institutional place for that to happen necessarily. With our platform now there's all these other schools of thought, like you're talking about, that have the opportunity to come into play anywhere across our society, right? That current. So again, it really goes into all these different areas. Satya, you want to say something? You're on mute. You're on mute, Satya.
I just watched a documentary on Netflix that was stating the power and the study of the imagination and the power of it, and how society has largely underestimated the young student population. However, they are the ones with the most zest for lives before they slip into resignment of change. They are literally the catalyst. I've worked with students before, and that's brilliant that you're tapping into that. And that's, I want to say something else, but that's the student population is a power source. People talk about, oh, the young generation. Well, actually, that's a scientific proven fact that the student population are the most powerful citizens on earth right now.
Yeah, and I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad you're saying that, because that's the thing, is I feel like it's going to relatively quickly in the coming years get to be into the tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of students that are, and young people that are working with us. And we'll get into it in future meetings, but for sure that's already being a powering, force for this, and almost by accident, because I wasn't looking for students and I wasn't thinking about it top of mind when I got introduced to Dr. Brown last fall. And, it was through the presentations to his class that the whole student thing just happened.
Wow, so, it was organic.
It was organic. It was totally divinely guided, and now it's blowing up, in the ways that you guys are seeing. So it's really great. I want to, again, it's 9:30, and if anybody has to leave, I understand, and I apologize that we're running longer. I do want to keep showing this for whoever can say, okay, Todd, if you've got to go, I understand. And you guys can watch the video if you do need to go for the rest of it, if you'd like. But let me continue to show you guys the videos for those of you that can stay. And then we will have some brainstorming for those of you that can and want to stick around, so that we can have a little bit of that with each other as well. But let me go ahead and continue with the next video. So let's go into Tatiana's around the business team.
Hi everyone, my name is Tatiana and I'm currently the business team leader for Unite for Action. In this short video, I'll be showing what the business team has been working on and some of the projects we've done. So being a part of the business team means you have to focus on managing the organization as a whole. Within that, it also means you have to manage accountability for each intern within Unite for Action. One way we do this is by sending out a time tracker each week. So I will share my screen and then to demonstrate what our current time tracker looks like. So, as a business team member, each week we have to make sure that every intern within Unite for Action fills us out accordingly and follow up with those who get to fill it out. As you can see in the document, Many of us put in a fair amount of hours each week just so that we're able to help in interaction progress. As I did mention earlier, many of us are actually students, and the business team is also then in charge of having all the necessary paperwork and documents made for schools. Try to get everything set so our interns are able to actively contribute to the organization and get the credits that they need. This then helps us facilitate a win-win situation for all parties. Currently in the midst of creating a set protocols for performing these actions and demonstrating how to gather all the practical requirements, but this then leads me to another focus of the business team. So within the business team, we worked on creating certain procedures and protocols. One example of this is the business team meeting guide, and I will currently share my screen on what our current guide looks like. So as you can see here in this document I've shared, many of us in the business team, it has these current protocols that we should all follow, and different practices that help the interaction grow, continue to grow. So it includes information on the onboarding process, how to get new members, how to track hours, and accountability. It even has information on how to handle confidential information, and each thing is linked, and we have reference videos on how to do things and how to conduct and further the business team and the interaction. So we also are trying to find ways to constantly improve our current practices and try to find long-lasting efficient systems and different platforms to use. So for example, we have worked on looking at a project management system that would best suit interaction. And I'll currently share my screen again. So as you can see here, we have started looking at qualities that we wanted as a team that would work on project management softwares. And then each member would then have to do their own independent research on different softwares such as Team Gantt, Monday ClickUp, and Rike. From there on, we would then come together as a big group within our business team meeting and then try to analyze and see, discuss which platforms would best suit an interaction. We really try to branch out and find different platforms and techniques that could be useful, and hopefully we've set a good example for what others can mimic. So that's all I have to show for now, but we're always trying to improve and do the best that we can. I just want to thank everyone for coming, and I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of the showcase. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for the claps. I know it's really awesome. All the students deserve a lot of claps for sure. They've been doing a great job, and it's really awesome to see. I'm really glad to share this with you guys. I'm going to keep going real quick. Any quick questions before we just run through the rest so you've got them all? Okay, cool. Let me keep going. We're going to look now at the let's do the outreach team video.
Hello everyone, my name is Mariana. I am a student at Florida International University and my major is International Relations. I am the leader of the outreach team and today I'm going to share with you the work we did this semester. I'm going to share my screen now, just a second. Okay, so one of the biggest projects that we had was the FDA presentation. In the FDA presentation, we had the opportunity to present to the FDA about the boosting shot of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. So the outreach team worked on this document, which is the invitation to experts, where we created an email to invite the experts to attend our presentation. And here is the email. We also worked on the press release, which is this document right here. And in the press release, we had to go to share this document with the media. For example, the channels like the TV channels, so we can gather more public and more audience to our presentation and to our project itself. So here is the document, and here we explain what we were going to be talking about in the presentation. Okay, so another big project that we had was video processing, and I'm going to share my document now so I can explain how this process worked. Okay. So within video processing, Jared shared with us the videos that he wanted to be processed. And we worked on this with the research team and the production team together. So it was the 3 teams working on this. So when Jared sent us the video, we wrote down the transcript. Here is the whole transcript of the video. And when we wrote down the whole transcript, we selected video clips. And the video clips has all the important information from the video. So for example, from this second right here to this second right here, we have 19 seconds. And in this 19 seconds, it's all the important information that we want to share in our social media, like in our Instagram, in our website, in the YouTube. So we selected many clips. And each person from each team has their own video clips. So then we compare all the video clips and we select the final stamps for the clips that we're going to share. And how it works is that the production team is going to later edit these clips, and then they're going to be ready to post in the social media. And Maria, which is the leader from the production team, she's going to explain better how this process of editing video works. And yes, these were the most important projects that we worked in the outreach team, and I hope you all enjoyed. And thank you so much for listening.
Great. So we'll actually go right into Maria with the production team so we can see the next part of that. This is where I'm going to jump into the middle.
My name is Maria Nunez.
I'll let her start and then we'll jump into the middle.
Hi, my name is Maria Nunez, and I am the leader of the production team for Uniting for Action. I'm going to show you what my teammates and I worked on during this semester. Okay, so let's go here. Goals on what were the best final days. Awesome. Now let's go to Minds. So this is a video I edited on Adobe Premiere Pro based on what the combined team, like the whole combined team, shows on what were the best final stamps video clips for a video that we had to process based on what were like the best thoughts that we had on that, what were the best parts that we could have from that video. So from those final timestamps that the combined team created, I edited the final timestamps and made it into one video with the final timestamps that were selected again. So this video was 11 minutes, and we got to like cut it into almost like 6 minutes, which is really great.
So what is Uniting for Action?
So I'm going to show you guys like the first part so you can see the cuts that I did.
Uniting for Action is the corporation I've created to hold the energy for the transformation of our society to a sustainable society where we can live in harmony with our natural resources and each other, generation after generation, forever. So for those of you that don't know or don't remember, my degree is in.
So I did those cuts, and so that the video is smoothly into the final timestamps. So going back, I also created a step-by-step video tutorial of the editing process. in that program, Adobe Premiere Pro, so that for my teammates, it's easier when they are going to use that program to edit any type of video that they have to do in the future, that they have to edit in the future. So here, this is me in the program.
Hi guys, so I wanted to show you how I am editing this video. So, okay, what I am doing is to make sure that I put the correct timestamps. I'm going to the video. So mostly it makes sense back here. Here's the one, the set put it already. I'm gonna select it. Here I have already done all of that with this process that I'm explaining right now. And yeah, I'm just gonna click play, and when I hear that last part, okay, so yeah, it's basically me explaining that. And so, as Alexis did, I also did an intro for the YouTube videos. So this is what I have. It was like a transition to, I based mine basically on the logo of the company. So we didn't get to like choose these ones. We are still working on that, but we worked on this. So yes, that is what my teammates and I on the production team worked on. I hope that this information was valuable to you. My experience was that I really enjoyed working with them, working with Garrett, and being able to be a part of this project. So I'm really glad that I could help with this. And so thank you so much for listening to me. Bye-bye.
So one last quick video and then we will be wrapped with this here.
Hello, Leadership Council. My name is Cassidy Wright, and I am the leader of the Uniting for Action recruitment team. I'm currently a second-year student at the Colorado School of Public Health, getting my master's degree in public health with a concentration in health systems management and policy. Just here today to show you all what we did on the recruitment team this semester and how we are helping grow the Uniting for Action team. So this semester in the United for Action recruitment team, we worked on a variety of different avenues to recruit students to our organizations. The first one that I'm going to discuss with you all is HubSpot. We utilize HubSpot to contact career services offices as well as student groups. Here you can see one of the videos that we created in order to train different students in our organization and anyone that comes after us on how to utilize the HubSpot platform in a way that's meaningful. With just a brief overview of one of our HubSpot accounts that you can see is organized into different schools and universities. Following that, we also utilized Handshake to communicate with career services offices in a way that was meaningful to provide comments and respond to them. So here you will see a video of another training video that shows how to utilize HubSpot and Handshake them in the same way in order to keep everything organized. Our correspondence with career services offices on Handshake and making sure that we know where we are on both platforms. Again, here you'll see the Handshake platform that we utilized. We have our different schools that we are in contact with that have approved us for posting job postings. And then here you can see our company profile with information regarding Uniting for Action that students can go to, can leave reviews, interviews, and learn more information about our organization. Another thing that we did this semester was we created a variety of job descriptions for Uniting for Action to attract more students for the different positions that we have available. These are still a work in progress. We'll be completing these soon and uploading these to our website. But here are just a couple examples of the works that we have been working on. So here is the recruitment team job posting. So you can see we have information regarding the mission, job title, description, and trying to follow a format that is, informative and will attract students to our recruitment team. Additionally, we have other positions that will be coming available shortly, such as media relations and communication and project manager, just to name a few. There will be several others that will be coming live soon, but these are just a couple examples for you all. Another exciting thing that we did on the recruitment team this semester was one of our students who unfortunately is no longer with the project, but her name was Isa2, and she goes to Ohio State University. And she had this great idea to create a QR code and put it on flyers all over her campus in order to attract students. And so this attracted students, and when they scanned the QR code with their phones, it put them into a group chat with the recruitment team there where they could ask questions. We provided information, links to our website, and videos so that they could learn more about the project. So I'm just going to show a couple photos of Isa2's flyer. So here was the flyer that she selected, and then just some pictures that she provided us with where she showed it all over her campus. And this attracted several students. They joined our chat and we provided them with information regarding Uniting for Action. So overall this semester, the recruitment team has been working really hard. I'm really grateful to have been a part of Uniting for Action and get to be a part of the recruitment team. There have been amazing students that we've worked with, and we're just going to continue to keep recruiting students in order to expand the project.
So there you go. Now it's much more tangible for you guys of what it looks like with all of these students that have been, working for all of these months with us. And again, not just what they've done, which has been amazing, but what the potential exists of what we can do with the whole student population, of our country and the world. So I'm at this point, again, I want to honor and thank each of you for going way over at this point, and I'm going to stick around as long as people want to keep talking. I understand if anybody needs to drop off, but Aaron, you want to say something first?
Well, I'm just, it was great to see, the different presentations and just get to hear kind of the train of thought and the systematic way that everything was done. Definitely exciting to see if you can scale the sort of help of the interns and things like that. Yeah, I think it could be really well incorporated into the whole college, some program or something that basically utilizes the platform in that way to contribute, but also give them real life experience of, being part of it. And, I can see where this is going, and definitely it's exciting. I'm not going to stick around too much longer. I'm beat. I got to get up early tomorrow, but it was great to meet everybody virtually here and get to hear from everyone. I look forward to meeting you guys in person and getting to share more at some point. So, it was a real pleasure. Thank you, Jared.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron. Great to have you here. Great to be with you. Appreciate you.
Yeah, it's a great think tank. A lot of really sharp minds, and it was nice. You guys, good stuff. Good. Everyone from their heart, I felt that good vibe. So thank you so much, everybody, for doing the good work you're doing.
Thank you as well, Aaron. Appreciate the reflection. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right, signing off.
Yes, see you.
Love you.
Yeah,
See you guys.
love you too. See you. Yeah, who else would like to share your thoughts after seeing, the students? Yeah, Kat.
Yeah, I see so much potential here because, college kids, whether they have to have a part-time job to pay for college or, they're able to just be in college, it's a win-win, right? So they get to add this project that they can talk about on their resume to future employers. They get expansion to what's going to be various solutions to global problems. There's just so much here, and kudos to you. Like, you basically fundraised how many hours of time and attention in testing something out. And my mind is going wild on, I've long thought of working with marketing teams, marketing students, like master degree marketing students, because when you think about problems, like, okay, we all know we need to drink more water, but like, we don't, whatever. And what if we had marketing teams coming up with slogans and campaigns and ads and jingles about water that gets so into your head, you're like, oh yeah, that's right, I really should have a drink of water. Like, my mind's kind of going wild on the potential of various students
Water
working.
to world peace.
Yeah, I mean, the ultimate goal, right, would be like a world that works for everyone, nobody left out. But like using
It exists.
yeah.
It exists.
It exists. It already exists. We need to attract it to us, right?
Yeah, like people knew it exists. Like there's an African tribe that hasn't been, oldest African tribe hasn't been touched by only but 2 white people. And they managed to not have, they're a culture that has no anxiety, no depression, no anger, no negative emotions, no greed. They're able to work out things amicably. So it already exists. Like people like wondering. And about the student population, I totally agree. The more I think about it, the more I realize the power in and them making a difference, because they have the most energy at that time. That's a development part of our personalities, and why not leverage that part?
They're not resigned and cynical yet.
Exactly.
And we need the possibility, like all those girls were so kind of delighted to be sharing. You had one little shy girl, but she was still delighted to be sharing. Like it was, I really just see tremendous potential in all of this. And by the way, Facebook was started on a college campus, and they went college by college. And any platform can start in a certain way. Amazon was a bookseller. Now it sells the entire world, right? It sells.
But you said it was powerful, using technology in a positive way, because most people are realizing that they've been shuttled into the school system to fill an industrial age that is archaic. And Jared, you went to Naropa. You didn't go to Naropa. Jared is one of the few people that knows that one of the universities that I went to, which is in Boulder. It's Buddhist based, and he went to school and he apparently right next door to Naropa. But the reason why I want to mention that university is because 5 Ivy League schools like Stanford, Harvard, yada yada, made a study of Naropa because of the citizens that they were turning out. Yeah, they look like modern hippies because they had dreads or whatnot, but the way they taught school was in a classroom in a circle, and the information is presented about the world or history or whatnot, and then we all get to collaborate and hear from each other. Like that's like the whole part that's missing, that connection. Like technology it's really interesting because it's connecting us so quickly. And yet we realize that if we don't do it, use it in a way that connects us more organically, shall we say, that we will have lost what it is to be human and the heart of the matter, which is already lost, and that we're here to restore. And I was going to say, for each one of us that are on this call, I'm clear that we're an angel. In my crazy world, in the normal world, I can't say that, but I will say that I really believe that we're all angels in our own right to restore humanity in an organic way.
Wow.
Awesome.
Kudos. Wow. That was nice phrasing.
Thank you for sharing all that, Satya. That's really great.
Michael, Dylan.
Dylan, don't you feel that you're like an angel of some sorts?
He's
Maybe
an ocean angel.
I wouldn't say it to, I don't think I've ever said it to anybody, but you guys were just now public. But in my egoic place, I do feel that I'm here to restore the heart of the matter of things in nature and community and harmony.
That's awesome.
Do you feel that, Dylan?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Now
Now
Okay,
we
here we
can.
go.
We couldn't hear you before. Yeah.
I think I lost the phone connection, so I might be having some echo.
No.
Yeah. You're
No?
good.
Did you hear the part that from egoicless place that you feel that you're an angel here to restore harmony in nature? And
Oh yeah, I could hear you guys fine. That was very nice of you. Yeah, it's all very exciting. I thought that the students' projects, it was, I could see that they can create it themselves. I have a lot to offer to bring to the table, but the framework is the most important thing. It's not any one thing that they've created, but you're leveraging this resource that's not really being tapped in the way that the student body of the world is, or just a lot of like untapped potential. But allowing the people want to get on social media and share their positions and their ideas, but this having a framework for them to really collaborate so that people who want to join a project don't have to do double work. For example, like people can work together effectively in like different places and leverage the skills that they potentially have. Like there's a lot of layers that would build up to make it more effective, but you could just see like they're creating it. They're deciding and it's happening on its own. So that's cool. I think that you're seeing the beginnings of it, like you guys are saying.
well, I would just say one last thing. I'm sorry. I hope I haven't been a nuisance, and I shouldn't say that about myself, but there was a documentary by Osho, Wild Country, on Netflix. And for me, that is the greatest proof that there is a chance of heaven on earth, where society is built on love and compassion, cooperation and community, where we get to follow our joy and do the things that we love, not in the system that society, like society did a great job. Hell, like as fast as society populated in the last 200 years compared to the last thousands of years, it's amazing.
Oh, definitely.
What we've been able to do.
Linda, I do appreciate you bringing the mystical side of it, and I definitely appreciate Kat bringing like more of like a solution-oriented, like kind of business focus to it.
Yeah.
So we have to remember like both sides of that, kind of the empathic, and it makes me think of a story, like a children's story. Did you guys ever hear of Cat in the Hat?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Dr.
The
Seuss.
original, where there's the book, the two children are there, the mother leaves, the cat shows up.
Oh,
and he
no,
has this
not
bag
the
of
original.
tricks.
I'll have to check that out. So there's an original Cat in the Hat prior to the Dr. Seuss. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm talking, the Dr. Seuss story, there's movies and stuff, but if
The
people
original
remember
one was
that, I
where they had
think
to clean up
that
everything
there's like a
for the
meaning
mother.
behind that story that's really excellent to share.
Dylan, can you please make a point of sharing it with us? Because I don't know that we'll remember that and you're familiar with it. But it makes me think of, when I say create something crazy like heaven on earth, and then look at Disneyland. And Kat, you just went to Disneyland and you were talking about it's like a place for adults, like an Osho, and there's already
the vibration there is so positive. It's so positive. But it's like
together.
I used to, a lot of the formative stuff around this from 10 years ago, I was spending weeks at Disney World, actually. I had an annual pass, and I had a friend that lived in Orlando, and I was going and hanging out in Disney World to write a lot of things.
Wow, the good vibrations are a foundation of this. That's so interesting.
Yeah, I have a deep background with Disney World. So yeah, I used to go there for creative inspiration and just sit in the cafe in the middle of Disney World and write this stuff. Yeah, that used to be one of my workplaces.
So
I just had to say that.
That's awesome. Well, before Dylan says Cat in the Hat, I want to jump in on something that's like a burning share. Michael and I have long theorized that we are in a simulation. Elon Musk says that the chance of this being base reality is very small. And I tend to think the man is extremely bright, having created PayPal and Tesla and going to the space. I mean, just, but what I see in humanity is the game has been to date and still is for the time being making money, profit, money, profit, money, profit, money, profit. So the environment's taken a hit. Human beings have taken a hit. Healthcare has
I
taken
think
a hit. It's
people
all
are
kind of,
turning though. It's a
yeah, I
paradigm
know.
shift,
That's what
like
I'm
you're
saying.
saying.
There's a massive shift happening where, again, back to the young people, they now would rather, instead of getting married, having kids and having a house, they know that if they spend their money on experiences, more of them are traveling and they're just picking up restaurant jobs as they go along, and they're seeing the world like we've never seen.
What is
So
life really about?
yeah,
Hello, it's
exactly.
about
What's this
that.
all about? And the money is not, having come from a wealthy family, it does not buy happiness. It often causes, like, whatever. It certainly puts a down payment on getting certain things done. But if we can have a role in this platform of shifting the focus from the game being making money to finding the best solutions, the money will come, because the real inspiration in solving problems, when a large group of people solve a problem together, that's what I always loved about Landmark, like the SELP projects that people did, the self-expression leadership projects where, Jared, you did a reunion, or no, a kid's birthday party that was like unreal. I did like an art show where I gave homeless people disposable cameras, and I had them take pictures. And when I developed the film, it was so interesting to see their perspective. There was a big picture of a billboard that said home starting at 500,000. And, for us, like, that's possible in the realm of possibility, maybe someday, but for these guys, it was Mars. And just these things like projects and things that get people inspired. People want to be part of something great and not just make money. And so I see this is just so juicy for people.
I feel like the combination is a really good thing too.
Yeah,
like,
why not? Have
like
both.
the Elon Musk trying to accelerate the world to sustainable energy with Tesla. That company is so overpriced from traditional fundamentals, but it's because of retail investors being down with the mission. So the whole economics is different now in the world of people want to invest in companies that have good missions.
100%.
So things are.
It's great that you're saying that, because I want to bring it up now. I've shared this with most of you, but it's important to get it on video. Is that what you just said? We become in my mind, such an idealized solution for the corporations that want to be socially conscious, like you're talking about, Dylan, because like you're saying, the population is going that way. So those are the consumers. With the consumer dollars going in that direction, the corporation.
I think they call it ESG.
What does that
Environmental, social governance.
Ah, okay, yeah.
It's kind of a catchphrase and.
Exactly.
But
the thing is, as you know, is that in our crazy polarized world, almost every single issue that you pick is the issue of one side, and then the other side is against that, right? It's like it's really hard to find one issue that everyone's behind, right? And so it leaves a real narrowness for corporations to be able to support anything. There's like 95% of the causes in the world that they can't go anywhere near, because they're going to lose customers as much as they're going to gain customers, right? But that's the beauty.
But like you said,
let me just,
like you said, the whole model is making the new solution. You don't have to change the government. You don't have to go over and tell everybody else to do it differently. You have a different model, and people will come over the fence,
Well, that's the thing, is that we are beautifully sitting in this place where, as a framework without any particular content, then we provide the opportunity for all of the corporations, everybody to get behind a framework that's creating solutions for society. And they don't have to worry that they're sticking their neck out because of this issue or this group or that group, because they're not getting attached to any one of those. They're just supporting the framework. And then in supporting the framework, we have all the billions of dollars that we need to be able to address these issues at scale from all the corporate support. And yet, they're able to do that without having to worry about, the backlash effect, essentially. So I think that that's going to be a huge, huge, huge factor in all of this. And I think that, again, pretty quickly that's going to catch fire, because we're dealing with the same thing with corporations. It's the early adopter thing, right? It's like once we have enough foundation built for it to be ready to go viral across the country, that's when it's going to be like a real land grab amongst the corporations, right? That's when the corporations are going to be tripping over each other to be the ones to lead this out into the world, right? And that's what we're preparing for. And so that's, an important aspect of sharing. Why do we have the Leadership Council? Because we're here now, and we need to grow to here to be ready to scale for all of society. And it's this whole gap that you guys are helping to fill in right now, right? That between you and who you connect us to and who they connect us to and who they connect us to, it's all of the channels that we're opening up, that with our very strong vibration that we're setting and opening all of these channels through all this distributed relationship network, then everything that is needed to fulfill this will flow to us, and we'll have all the pieces step by step by step until we're at that point, right? We're at the point to blow up and go to scale and all of that sort of thing. So that's the process we're in right now. And then to just clarify it again, as a 3-month Leadership Council process, we get to play with what is possible within a 3-month time frame, right? What can we do within 3 months? Where can we get to by the end of this 3 months? So we're here, we're looking to get here. Like, how far can we go in these 3 months? That's the game that we're playing right now. So I'm going to pause because I would love to hear Michael's thoughts and reflections, and then we'll see where we're at in terms of wrapping up. I really appreciate you guys sticking around and us continuing the conversation. Like I said, I'll keep going as long as anyone wants to keep talking. But Michael, I'd love to hear your thoughts and reflections on all of this.
All right. Well, thank you very much for, again, like inviting me into this. I'd like to just listen. As I said, I feel like my brain likes to kind of bring in all the various variables in this, and it's nice to hear everybody's sort of thoughts. Right off the bat, the idea that you're sort of beginning this in this sort of college setting, I think is wonderful, because in my own very large civic project, that was the very first thing that I reached out to. So I had all the various colleges in the state of Vermont, even down to the elementary schools, sort of participating in whatever way that they could in order to build this much larger idea that I had in my head. So that's really, a beautiful aspect of this. And, also sort of plants a seed, I think, because, all of this is sort of planting seeds that ultimately grow into a sort of a larger thing. Certainly there's this sort of spiritual end of it, which again, Katya has been sort of pushing into this. But, I heard also in you, Jared, that, we're trying to kind of mate. The problem, I think, is that you have sort of this, perhaps, sort of spiritual hippie end of things, which a lot of times doesn't ground itself in reality in this 3-dimensional realm to get things done. It's sort of a lot of lofty ideas, wonderful, but unless you sort of bring that knowledge down and put it into some sort of action in 3D, it's really not, all that, I don't know.
Impactful.
It just, exactly. And so, so really, I've just sort of, I've really been just trying to listen to all the little aspects of this. I'd like to actually kind of examine a bunch more things before I even sort of have some larger thought to it. One person who hasn't said anything is Emiliano. I'd really like to hear also what he would have to say about this. I think like one major question I have is that, first of all, I think Kat did a great job of sort of quantifying what this is to be. And I think one question I have is that, so how do we build a legitimacy to this? I mean, eventually, obviously you have it in the schools and things, they're throwing research into this. And I know you went into some of that as we spoke, but I think that aspect of it, I'd like to kind of hear more, or sort of feel into more, as to how this is fully legitimized in the society, so that like you have a name like Consumer Reports, which was a great metaphor, Kat. Obviously, you have to build credibility in that regard. And I think that that's probably going to be it's certainly the largest hurdle in all of this, because you have even within our group, you have people chiming in about, well, this is how I feel about vaccines versus what this is being said. You can see the polarization throughout our society. And so how do you throw everybody's, hat into one ring with legitimacy, I think is probably the most important component of this.
I think that's a really good point, Michael. So thank you for sharing all of that and continuing to hold the flame for that, I imagine. So I wrote that down, and we'll definitely continue to have conversations around that. And I'm going to give the answer that I kind of give to everything about this, which is, I'm not the expert in that, but I know that experts exist in that. So, what do we need to do to find those experts and have them have that conversation, or give us the findings that they've already found? It's like none of us, we're creating a framework where none of us necessarily need to stretch into a new area and become a new expert. Like, all we have to do is network our way to the experts that already exist, and have the people that exist in our society to answer all these questions, answer all the questions that they're already there to answer, right? Does that make sense? So that's kind of, that's my kind of easy answer to all of it. Then it comes down to, okay, now we got to do the networking, and now we got to find those people. Now we got to have the conversation with those people, and that sort of thing.
Well, let me just, I'm going to draw some from my own background, and this might be the better way of sort of extending this out there. So after college, I went down to Washington, D.C. I worked for a think tank for Near-Middle East foreign policy. That think tank, the specific think tank that I worked for was, whoa, what was that?
I don't know.
Was that me?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it was.
Okay.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. Was generally more pro-Israeli. So you had a slant of more pro-Israeli. That immediately drew half of Washington, D.C. to us to be legitimized, to hear the findings that we had some unbelievable scholars who all day long thought about what public policy should be in this one specific area of the world. But that wasn't a uniting thing, because depending on who came into power in Washington, D.C., they would select either a more right or a more left, if you will, slant on things. And so my question is that, so we have a neutral platform of bringing ideas into this. I love the idea, first of all, that look, instead of bashing everything down, let's make this a forum of solutions. But what if the solution in this happens to be, well, according to all our experts, you know what? Vaccines really should get out there, because this is going to, half our planet could die. What if that was the end all of our thing?
Can I?
You're talking about
address your question, Michael?
Yeah. Well, let me just finish. So then a company comes in, who very obviously has interest in either being neutral to something, or are fully, like the NRA is like fully, like we believe that everyone should have a gun and the rest of it. That's going to necessarily splinter or or fracture this idea. And I'm just sort of wondering what the solution to that is.
Yeah,
So I see solutions to lots of different problems. Like, you know, some people are very passionate about very particular things. Like I think of Jane Goodall, you know, going out and helping the chimpanzees. So if you're wanting to help the chimpanzees, you're going to help with that program, or you want to save the whales, or you know, I'm more ocean minded, but there's a lot of activist things that are going on, non-for-profit organizations, as well as businesses that we can support and help grow. Like I'm trying to produce a business, and I can see potentially some value in Emilio's entrepreneurial experience and Catherine's marketing experience. Like, so just from a small group, like I can see people that I would want to reach out to more for help with my particular project. I'm very much grounded in doing real things to help, but I don't see changing the world as the solution. I want to create a floating island micronation to do what, you know, so I can just be with people that want to do similar and like-minded things. And I think that the whole organization could kind of splinter into lots of different things. Like I'm supposed to start to build up a blue channel for kind of marine related, you know, areas that people might want to, you know, focus on. But I could, you know, there's just so many things, so many people. I used to work at a market, like the Yellow Green Market in Hollywood, and other events I would, you know, set up. If you've ever been to like a farmer's market type thing, I used to do a lot of woofing. So I learned about selling produce and agriculture in that kind of setting. And people that are running their own small businesses, sometimes they're doing really valuable things, but they don't have some one thing or another thing. They need a little bit of help to build up their business. There's a lot of resources for that, but sometimes it's just the people that you know, the community that's helping support you and promote you. And so, you know, you could have the vacciners over here and the anti-vaxxers over here. You could have, it's just not about opposition. It's about focusing your positive energy in the directions that you want to focus it on, you know, and realizing you're just a piece of a much bigger puzzle, that this organization is part of a much bigger plan, that the whole globe is focused on fixing certain problems. We've, you know, 100 years ago, we didn't have the luxury to think about some of the problems that we have, you know, like with minorities and LGBT community, you know, like our whole, if you look at the history, we've made a lot of progress in so many areas, and the world is in a lot of ways better than it's ever been, you know, and in other ways it's worse than it's ever been. So I see, like, maybe I'll share that story, the Cat in the Hat, right? At the end of the Cat in the Hat, the house is a mess. The mother's coming up the sidewalk, if you remember the story, and the goldfish he's packed his bags, he's ready to leave. He's kind of like the conscience, right? He's telling the children, you know, oh, you got to be careful. This cat is going to mess up the whole house, and they're having all the fun. You remember thing 1 and thing 2?
Yes.
So I don't know what everybody else thought about that story, but, you know, people recognize Dr. Seuss and his analogies. I think that he's saying the cat in the hat is our curiosity. It's the cleverness in the human mind. And we've produced so many things in the world, and it's been so much fun, but we've messed up the mother's house in that process. And right now the mother's coming back, and the wrath is about to come down. Well, what does the Cat in the Hat do? The children turn to the cat. You've got to fix this problem. You messed up this whole, you know, made this whole mess. What are you gonna do? So he pulls out one more trick from his bag, the Thing-O-Matic. And it's got hands that reach out in every direction, hundreds of hands, and it just fixes the whole house and cleans up the mess before the mother comes back. And they're just like, wow. So I think we've got to reach into our minds and innovate the solutions and come up with the idea. You know, we've been creative enough to make a mess. We can be creative enough to solve it in time.
I Yeah, I appreciate that sentiment. And I mean, obviously, we're all here for the very reason that we have an optimism to clean up the house, which is our world. So that's absolutely, I applaud you and empathize, because I wouldn't even, be on this call if I hadn't had a deep wish to do exactly the things that you're talking about. What I see though is a very splintered world. And my direct question is, how do you, under one umbrella of this organization, United We Are, how do you get the NRA to be taught, to, I don't know, go on to this with the people who are like, look, do you realize how many gun deaths we have in the United States? How do you get those two people to sign on to the same thing, if that's an example to this?
Yeah, well, the quick answer to that is they're not necessarily, those two different people are not necessarily working on implementing the same project, right? At least not to begin with, right? Like the ones have their one project and the others have their project. They're both getting to use the framework to implement whatever project they want. And as you guys know, this is about the people who are like-minded and have the same interests to find each other and be able to create together. I think in the long run, and I'm just going to tell you, Michael, from my perspective and my answer to that is that it's not like we send them all to Michael first, but it's kind of like that. It's that there are processes in the world for helping people gain greater awareness and insight into self and healing the different things that are exhibiting themselves in society. And we have lots of psychologists and sociologists and other entities that are, not only already showing up to help on the healing level, and people like you and others, but there's even you and I have talked about it, and I still kind of see it this way. There's the consciousness, where we're at as a consciousness of society, and then there's the systems that we have in society. And right now, our systems are reflective of our consciousness, although there's a bit of a lag because the systems have a lot of inertia. It's tough to change them. So even though Kat and Dylan and others have mentioned that there's a bubbling up and an emerging of consciousness within society, we don't yet have the systems to match that level of consciousness. So we're helping to build the systems that facilitate that level of consciousness. But then, we're also looking to have our systems exceed the level of consciousness at some point. So then, we need to keep raising consciousness to be able to create solutions. The answer in a roundabout way to what you're describing, Michael, is that if there's a longer term interest in arriving at more harmony and less polarization, as there is for me, I do believe, like you're suggesting, that it's an unsettlement of society. It's symptomatic in our society to see what's happening. It's symptomatic of the underlying issues. So how do we address the underlying issues? So how do we as a framework address those underlying issues? And I think that that's where there's all kinds of different incentive-driven aspects of the system. You can start talking about the gamification of the system and the ways that you can incentivize all kinds of positive, productive types of behavior and those sorts of things. So it's a whole nother conversation that we haven't even gotten into yet, but I'll just drop that nugget for you to give you an idea of where my mind has gone around some of that, is that once we have people using the system because they're using this solution and the others are using this other solution, once they're in the system, at least now we get to be in conversation with them, and we get to help work with them to develop their personal responsibility, help work with them to develop their personal empowerment, their team building skills, like all the soft skills and all the underlying healing work that needs to happen can all happen once we're in in relationship with all of these people. So the first thing is just developing relationship. And once we're in relationship, then we get to bring all of those other elements into play.
And I'll jump on there too, because Michael, I had similar thoughts. What I can foresee that could be so powerful is coming up with a format that becomes part of our brand. Like a solution campaign, like when you get to a certain reputation on the platform, you can now be given our format that we have, that's a 3 to 5 minute whatever solution campaign. And similar to like the whole popularity of TED Talks, which have a certain structure and they have city locations. So there's TED Detroit and TED Miami, and then the big TED in Monterey. I kind of see it being not where people are giving speeches on a stage so much, but like as you put together your solution campaign, you use a snippet from a TED Talk, a snippet from a Ivy League PhD document, you know, like, and you carve it up and this is what you serve. And then those different things, some people that are interested in those solutions, they're now almost creating competing solution campaign videos, and they'll go more viral on the platform. This one is so great. I saw this weird solution campaign video on the power of sea moss. Now I want to go buy sea moss because I hear that for my health, it's the fastest, quickest way for $40 a month. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just being like
hearing from
completely.
the people, not the pharmaceutical companies. I will say, Kat, you're so brilliant, and you jumping in, and I will say that you jumping in is a perfect antidote to what Dylan's concerns were, and to what Jared, I think, was trying to explain, is that we have been marketed as a society into believing what is right for us, and it is inherently not natural for us. But look at Kat having had a marketing company. I'm a marketing whiz, and that's it. Just finding, that's the solution. Marketing in a way where people can see what's in it for themselves, but it's all about marketing.
Well,
So
everyone wants to go viral, but imagine being known for the person who came up with the funniest, most compelling solution video for the ocean or whatever. I don't know, but like,
yeah,
I mean,
so imagine you're like a, let's just coin it as you are, and I am a social altruistic marketer.
This is social marketing.
It's not
actually,
just for the matrix.
It's a different category of marketing.
Yes, I am marketing for what is for the best interest of the person and the world, and how they fit, and how that all fits together in a harmonious way. So marketing, imagine that you and I are on the call, and that you and I just happen to be marketing geniuses. That is part of the answer, is a marketing in a way. Like social architects built a self-sustainable community. They thought it would take a year to sell. It took a week because people were already ready for it. So, we don't even have to market that hard. As marketers will know, we just want to let people know what's available for those people who want the same things as us. That's what's been missing. Everything has been marketed for being successful, beautiful, having the perfect life. And it's all a facade. That's a matrix. We're in the real world where anything is possible. That got created out of a conversation or a thought idea, whatever. We don't like it. And it wasn't for the purpose of bettering manhood, nothing in school prepares you for understanding yourself, how to be a great human being, understanding your mind. Everything is just to shuttle you into a system as a robot. We have the opportunity of letting people know, yes, the answer to the ultimate question of why am I here? Ladies and gentlemen, the answers are within you. They are reachable. They're the ideas and thoughts and dreams of which everything was created from. Thank you, Disneyland, for creating a playground for adults on Earth. He died before seeing it, but he saw it in his mind first, and that's where we see everything. But people don't believe. Thank you, Jared, and everyone that was on this call, and everyone who's listening.
Oh,
Oh,
Where'd she go?
well,
That was her.
well,
Yay!
I,
Well,
I want to allow Michael to reflect on what was said, but I wanted to follow on with what Satya just brought up, which is, as you can see, I had prepared a slide on, which is foundationally what we are about. I've just come to narrow down to this within the last couple of days, is we're about win-wins. We're about creating win-win-wins for you, for the project, and for the world. And to get into what Satya was just saying is that there's all kinds of win-lose situations happening in the world, and a lot of the challenges are that somebody is winning and somebody is losing. I come from the perspective that there is always an infinite number of solutions. That's a foundation that I like coming from around anything that gives me power, when I know that there's an infinite number of solutions for anything. And knowing that there's an infinite number of solutions for anything, then I know there's an infinite number of win-win solutions for anything. So any place that there's a win-lose situation happening, I'm operating under the fundamental belief that it can be replaced with a win-win situation. So coming from that perspective, we're in the business, so to speak, of helping to show people an alternative win-win situation wherever they're experiencing a win-lose situation. And like you guys have been saying, when given the choice, more and more people will continue to choose the win-win rather than the win-lose. And this is where, again, we incentivize this, we teach this. There's a whole lot of generational learning and development and transformation that comes along with all of this. But that's kind of the way that I see it, to kind of briefly give, my take on what you asked about, Michael. And so after, what Satya said and Dylan said and I said, I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are now, Michael, after hearing all of that.
Right back to me. Well, understand I'm trying to put this all together, and the way my brain works is I like to get as many different thoughts and as much information as I can in before I'm making some larger decision and stuff. And clearly your ethos of what really to me is optimism, or that, that cat in the hat, everything, clean everything thing. Obviously that is what has attracted, I think, all of us to this. And at the same time, I like to poke holes and be devil's advocate as many times as I can, because I think that that's very valuable. I mean, it's wonderful to, hooray and applaud everybody and the rest of it. It's also very important to poke holes in places that perhaps, the blind spots here. And and really all I'm doing is just, I'm really just trying to take this all in.
I totally
appreciate that.
And it's why, for me, I like to keep coming back to this, because I think not only is it a solace for me, but I think it's the strength of the system, is that whenever you ask any question that I personally don't feel like I'm an expert in, or necessarily, or at least not yet, I don't feel the need that I'm going to ever need to answer that question. All I need to do is find that others that have been studying it and researching it and figuring it out and finding other systems. And by finding all of the people and all of the resources that there are to answer all these, for every question there's somebody out there that's been thinking about that and somebody that's been working on it. So rather than me, amateur hour, trying to figure out an answer to that on the spot or in 30 minutes or whatever, why not just go find the people that have spent 20 years on that, and the whole collection of 100 of them that already have a whole, association of those people, and invite that association to come and figure that answer out for this, for that aspect of the system, basically. You get what I'm saying? Best practices all the time around everything. That's
you're kind of connecting the dots, right?
Connecting
the
dots.
I would like to speak a little bit to that, the win-win and all of these issues. It's like a bigger picture I see of cooperation over competition. Competition is a really powerful drive in the environment and the economy. And, you know, I participated in academic competitions. We were talking about putting some of those things together. I think the real paradigm shift is to cooperation. Even in ecological systems, you start out with competition, but what happens is species co-evolve together to develop mutualism. And in the most developed systems, like in the rainforest, we're talking about, you have butterflies and orchids and, you know, birds of paradise that, you know, they don't live out of scarcity. The natural selection isn't based on predation and parasitism and these other relationships. It's like sexual selection because they're in abundance and they don't have as much predation. So corporations, the big fish have swallowed the small fish. There's an analogy you can make with that evolution in the way that our economy has developed, and systems have, you know, bigger corporations are cooperating in order to outcompete other corporations, and they're developing, you know, relationships with their suppliers and with their customers. And it's just dots being connected in a larger super organism, and we're accelerating that transition to abundance for not just humans, but for all of the species, you know, because it's a moral imperative that people, you know, the more abundance we have, the more luxury we have to be compassionate. And that becomes the drive. When some people need $1 billion to give back, some people are ready to give back even though they have nothing.
Right.
But everybody has their level where they're going to be activated. And whether it's just taking care of their family, once they have those base needs met, they're going to jump on higher and higher visions for the acceleration into this positive future.
I was picturing, because it is a marketing challenge to get people to start to consider social responsibility and volunteering and solution-oriented thinking and giving their time toward a solution-oriented platform. So I was picturing a viral campaign. Everybody's got their social media channels, but like it'll be just like, you know, law of attraction is speak it and then you're going to create what you speak about. And it's just this purple background. I don't know, you make sure they get a purple shirt hanging in the background, purple blanket, I don't know, purple. So purple branded for sure. But you know, the person just takes 2 minutes and says, I want a world where I could trust a priest to watch my kids. That was a bad one. That makes you go into a negative place, right? That's not a good one. You know, but I want a world.
So like 30 seconds where like we did like
30 seconds, like a sound bite.
Yeah.
And then it just says uniting for action,
Yeah,
right?
it's like the society of
it's
the
like
world.
if you had something
we all want the
creative
same
enough,
thing.
people would be like, God, I'm going to go to that website. And maybe they don't like it the first time they see it. Oh, it's a bunch of social project people, whatever, stupid website, whatever. But then like all of a sudden people keep talking about this thing. It's getting annoying. I got to go check it out again now. Oh, wait a minute. They're talking about something I am interested in, you know, and they find like if you go to the site and there's a, you know, as the site gets more and more developed and slick and graphically cool, you know, healthcare, and then all the sub things and plant medicine and drinking more water and essential oils, and then the ocean, which has got I mean, there's ocean has so many things, right? So all that. And I think that marketing could become super cool because this is what people are hungry for. So you could get really creative where you have this little sound bite out there and people are like, what is this everybody's talking about now? So it's a thought.
It's some really good thoughts, Kat. Yeah, you're heading down some paths that you and I will talk about more later, because there's a lot there, and you're definitely tapping into a lot of good stuff there. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Jared, can I cut in one more time here?
Oh, of course, yeah. I'm eager to hear from you, Michael.
Yeah. So I mean, first of all, everyone's optimism and philosophy in this, I applaud and absolutely agree with, and that's why what's interesting to me is that you chose, for whatever reason, or it just came about, the vaccine situation, right? And you had a huge number of these college kids presenting their findings to this and things. I think that that's a really excellent microcosm, perhaps, of the world to at least start this on. You know what I mean? Because, you know, even within our own group, we had a number of people say, absolutely not, no vaccines, whatever. I'd like to see how that situation on just that singular thing is handled, or is matured or evolved. As I said, you know, everything starts on small steps on, you know, into like larger things. So was that a conscious decision on your part into bringing, I mean, the very first thing you showed and that we've talked about is the vaccine thing, which is a wildly polarized situation in the United States or even the world.
Worldwide.
So what I guess I'm asking you, was that a conscious thing on which to build this?
Yeah, it was a conscious choice to pick the most non-polarizing issue possible. So imagine that. Yeah, exactly. Because you guys,
okay.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Well, you guys are actually, you're not remembering what the situation was like before the vaccines were approved, because before the vaccines were approved, there was everybody was talking about, should you get a vaccine or not? You know, is this going to be safe? Is this going to be right? Is this going to be this? Is this going to be that? So everyone had questions, whether people were already feeling strongly one way or another. Nobody had like an absolute, everybody had questions. So it seemed like the perfect place to be answering questions for everybody, regardless of what questions they were asking. I thought that in being a source of information, that we could be a source of information to everybody that was asking about everything, and then therefore there wouldn't be any polarization around it. Of course, it got very polarized once the vaccines got approved, and then some people agree, some people didn't, and all of that. And again, remember the context of it in terms of how everything was being developed, when originally, you know, it was being developed under a Republican president, and the expectation was that all the Republicans would follow the, you know, what the president created and all that sort of thing. It then got totally flipped on its ear, right? So it's just the whole way that this is all kind of gone is totally different than, you know, the way that I scripted it, of course. But what I realized was that I started, when I first started doing this, Michael, I wanted to pick an issue that I thought would, again, be universal because it affected everybody. So I chose climate. Climate affects everybody. There's nobody that can escape that. So, hey, that's about as universal as it gets, right? Well, you know, I started hearing from people that were feeling that whatever I was sharing about climate was like totally, you know, whatever. I started getting the other side. So then it was another issue, and then I was getting the other side, and then I was getting that. So I went through a series of issues trying to remain, you know, neutral and open to everybody, to where, again, I chose vaccines because I thought it would be universal. You know, a year later, like you said, it's the most polarizing issue possible, perhaps, which is why, again, we're no longer in the business of dealing with issues at all. And that's why it's such a great transition for us that, you know, when you talk about, Michael, well, you know, this could be a good case study, that could be a good case study, but not from within Uniting for Action. Uniting for Action will not create a case study. What we'll do is we'll invite Dylan to show up, and Dylan to provide his case study. And I don't know if Dylan wants to take a couple minutes to actually go into it now. I know we've already been going for quite a while, but you know, we had Dylan scheduled on the agenda for him to spend a couple minutes on his specific project, because that's the way it's going to flow from here, Michael. When you say, I'd like to see how it goes with this, or I'd like to see how it goes with that. It'll be whatever nonprofits are operating in that space that come in to use the system, that then are users of the system in that space, or whatever, interns have a specific, expertise that they want to develop while they're in school. And so they're going to use the system for that. So it'll be the users that suss out the system, but Uniting for Action is not going to be a user of the system, just more of a solution provider to help work on the framework. So does that answer your question in any way, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly gives me a little bit more of the backbone and structure of this. So thank you. Yeah.
And you guys, can I say something else? Because I'm going to have to go in just 1 minute. But I want to just say thank you so much for everybody staying on longer. I love your hearts and spirits, and thank you for being who you are on planet Earth. And I want to say to what Michael is saying is, sorry, let me just collect my thoughts before I go, is, oh shoot, man, it was powerful. I'm so sorry I lost it. Is how it will work is the beautiful platform that you're creating for us, Jared, is the possibility of a collective for the same resources, but for going for the same goals, and the power in group dynamics and why we have come together. Even us, I beg to question why us on this first potentially global platform for change. There's a reason. And as far as Dylan and Michael, I know what I wanted to say is that I'm going to go really out on a limb here, is that I know, Jared, you have not tried plant medicine, but mushrooms are an organic force in the nature that they are it's completely connected across the globe, and scientists that have studied mushrooms believe that there's an intelligent, as there is to all healing plants, to connect us. And I think that's incredible that Michael happens to be on this call, and Kat, and with the super brains that we are and that we believe, and that everything came from an idea and a thought and a dream. So whatever it is that you believe, I believe that we're all here connected because we have some piece of the puzzle together, as many of us do. And again, thank you. Thank you, Jared, for putting this together. And Michael, a message to you and to Jared about the mushroom thing, because they're using it now in for depression. They're using it. There's Dr. Mate that understands that
trauma,
all traumas that we all have, no one is exempt, that it leads to some kind of clinical disease that can be literally, it's a thing. You have this trauma, you're going to have this disease. So there is something in it for all of humanity, for us to be able to shed the traumas of our society that has been placed upon us as natural human beings, because people who are happy are not in a box. They are free. They are connected. Those are the happiest studies of the happiest cultures that are out there, the ones that are connected, communal, looking out for each other. Yeah. We lost that wisdom with the Native Americans, raping, going for resources and money. That's been our drive. And I believe there's a culture and a world possible based on caring and compassion. Because, for example, everyone in jail should not be there. They should be rehabilitated truly. And so we had good intentions with our society, and we lost the mark somewhere. And thank you, everybody, for your heart, so that we may restore humanity, and not because we think we're right, but because the heart, love is the answer to everything.
And Satya, thank you. And before you go, I'm going to sign off too. I wanted to say that we don't know what this is yet. That I just have this feeling in my gut, and the fact that Michael's here and Dylan and Satya and Jared, you guys are also like, we don't know what this is yet. Again, Facebook started actually as a hot or not. They'd put two chicks up on the thing and decide who was hotter. And it started as a rating on hot chicks. That's what Facebook originally, like if you watch the movie and then and Amazon selling books and now selling every product under the sun. I think that it's such a lofty, beautiful goal to talk about solutions and then create solutions through our speaking on some common place that somehow, who knows? We don't even know. We don't even know.
Actually, we do, because if it came to us already, those are the clues and the answers.
No, but we don't know how it's totally going to look in the, but I mean,
Well,
really,
we know it's going to be good.
anything's
because we're here.
possible. Anything
is possible.
Yeah.
And I
we're
appreciate
creating it. We're creating it. Are
We're
we
creating
not? I'm a pioneer and industry leader. I'm all about not being at the effect of life and being at cause. And there's a difference. And you and I understand that. All of us here understand that. And we are at cause.
World Peace by Tuesday. That's my slogan, World Peace by Tuesday. Why not Tuesday?
Why not?
Why not?
I appreciate what you're all saying. And that is part of our branding and our messaging, so to speak, is that just creating this conversation, just holding the space for the conversation, just being all of this is furthering the game, right?
That's right.
So people say, like, how do you know you're going to be able to create results? Well, we're already creating results because we're having this conversation, and we're being a stand for the expansion of this conversation throughout our society until, there's so many people in the conversation that it is materializing, right? So it's not even whether we need to build the framework or build the system or build the technologies. We're spreading the ideas and giving enough hope and inspiration to enough people that people will grab it and run with it. And it may be somebody else that takes the lead or does this or does that. But what we're doing is we're holding the energy and concentrating it and bringing it into reality enough that, like you're saying, and like you've said, Michael, the waves, the butterfly wings, the waves will propagate out from us, and we don't need to know where it's going. We don't need to know how it's going to manifest. We just know that if we keep pushing forward, that it will keep moving.
Aho.
Aho.
Aho. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Drop the mic.
Brilliant minds unite.
Good night, everyone.
Elvis has left the building.
Has left. Great to be with all of you. I will still stick around if anyone wants to keep talking, although I am getting pooped out myself, but I am here. I must be last to leave. Who's going to make me stick around? Are you guys still staying here? What's happening?
Oh, Deb, I'm going to go to the bathroom, but I will be back.
It seems like a good time
Everybody else
to
leaves
I'll
before
give you guys
you.
the permaculture spiel another time, or watch the video.
Yeah,
it's linked on the website.
I watched your video. It was awesome, by the way. I love everything that you stand for. Like, I didn't even know you.
Oh, yeah?
I do know you, but I got to know you in a way that I love you. And, and I really believe, like, I've been a life coach for 20 years, and people come to me, they're like, oh, I have this and that. And in the first hour, I get clear on exactly what it is that they want. If all that was handled in the matrix, and what would you do if time or money wasn't an issue? Like, what would you do? Yeah, like I give him a magic wand, and then you know what? That's what I go for, because that's what we're here. So I'm glad. I'm so honored to be with people who listen to the call, because it takes a certain amount of courage. But honestly, it's so simple. It's just believing. If it came to you, hello, it must be for a reason, because it didn't come to the guy next to me or that guy. It came to me. It came to you, right? For a reason. Is that right? When you listen to the call, even if you have to take something, but
It's all cosmically important. Everything is happening for a reason. We're all the center of our own universe.
Ordained for that. Imagine, people don't go for their dreams, what they're missing out on. And the world.
Gotta go for your dreams. Go for your dreams.
And because the
No,
world,
even if you have
and the-
kids, I
and
have
not
2
you, like
kids,
the world needs you. The world
and I
needs
put
you.
them
Thank you
first,
for you, Dylan.
but I follow my dreams so that I can teach them to follow their dreams.
And your example, even if you didn't speak a word of it, is your butterfly ripple in the world, just you being it. But thank you for encouraging other people, because, you know, my boyfriend is like that right now. He's a Renaissance man, and he has been a student of love and understands the honor in women and what women bring, and in such a way that there's a reverence that needs to be bringing back to the sexes, that, you know, it's not just a patriarchal society, but it's, you know, we all came into the world as both feminine and masculine, and to understand the beauty which both bring. And I had to ask him, like, you know, he wasn't going for his dreams. And, you know, I had to ask him, like, do you believe that you have everything in you already to achieve it? And he's like, you know, I hard pressed him. And he said, yes. You know, and I'm like, you know, knowing that the world needs you, you know, not, I mean, if you listen to the call, not everyone, some people may get it. Not everyone has to listen to it. But for me, I 100% choose to listen to the call, and bold obedience to your calling.
It's the only way. Once you really have the call, if you don't go, it's disaster. I'm telling you.
And that people think
Every
it's
other
hard.
road
Like,
is the
you know
wrong
what's
way.
hard is living with the regret that you didn't go for everything that was ordained for you. And I'm not religious, but I'll say that, ordained for you, like everything you're capable, like the seed of potential that you are. If people have those ideas and they're questioning themselves, I'm like, oh my gosh, when you're questioning yourself, you got to ask yourself, why did that come to you? And why is it haunting you?
Sometimes it's harder to be the second person, to be the first follower. I saw a whole TED talk on that. It was really great about, you know, it's easy to be the one, you have this great idea, you know, everybody follow me, right? It's very hard to have the second person, you know, to go and see, I see you have a dream, like, let me help you with your dream. And if people just want to help each other with their dreams more, everybody's dreams could happen. But you got to fight for your own dream, because you can't help somebody who doesn't want to fight for themselves.
To me, it's like, it's literally heartbreaking that people have a dream and that they don't go for it because of the impact that they can have on humanity that they don't know. So Martin Luther King had a dream. Disneyland had a dream.
Walt.
A dream seems like a pie in the sky, way out there. Dream, just the word is like, forget about it. But Disneyland saw his dream first in his mind, and everything comes from that. Our imagination is the key.
But we wouldn't have a Disneyland if it weren't for other people recognizing that Disney had a good idea and supporting it, you know, and the people that were pushing the bulldozers or building the monorails or whatever. You know, I don't know. Disney's a whole nother thing now. But
well, let's all acknowledge that Jared has brought this. So as Walt Disney, I would just like to applaud Jared. And on that note, I'm going to
all the visionaries.
Yes, exactly. And
we hold the light
my
to you.
AirPod Pros are going, so I'm going to sign off and digest all of this. But Jared, thank you for your vision on this.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate your contributions. Appreciate the acknowledgement. And I appreciate all of you. I know we're all at the end now, so great to have this experience. Great to begin all of this and launch it all with you guys. I really honor and appreciate you, and I'm excited to continue this journey with you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Have a good night, Jared.
See you guys.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.